Welcome to spring training baseball from JetBlue Park in Fort Myers. It's Fenway South. Tonight, the Boston Red Sox host the Minnesota Twins. Well, it should be a great deal of fun tonight as we go to the upper Midwest as well as all of New England. I'm Don Orsillo, and tonight joined by our friends at Fox Sports North and the voice of the Minnesota Twins, Dick Bramer.
Well, Don, it's good to be with you folks from snowy Minnesota and snowbound New England. I think the treat will be listening to a former All-Star, both from the 70s, the Boston Red Sox, and in the late 90s, Ron Coomer, who made his All-Star appearance, that memorable All-Star game at Fenway Park. Jerry Remy, of course, the great second baseman. 10 major league seasons with the Boston Red Sox, and we're looking forward for their analysis. And we got the Rem Dog and the Coom Dog, and both guys I think are looking forward to this game here tonight. And a minor league star hoping to make an impression and make the big league club.
Well, Jose Iglesias, you know, last year was with the Red Sox, and of course there was talk about him coming out of spring training as maybe the starting shortstop, but the fact is he had problems swinging the bat. And he went back in the offseason and really did a lot of hard work. He got bigger, he got stronger, he's still got a great glove in the infield, something you can't teach the way he plays defense. And the fact that right now Stephen Drew is the shortstop, but Iglesias has been very impressive.
Well, you're talking about center field for the Minnesota Twins and Aaron Hicks. All he's done in the last couple days is hit 5 home runs in the last 3 games. And when you talk to the coaching staff and the manager, they absolutely love the way he goes and gets them in center field. He's got a great arm, great range, and can hit the ball out of the ballpark. He's been exciting as of late.
You 3 guys are going to get started, right?
We are indeed.
Yep.
Tonight from JetBlue Park. It's the Red Sox and the Minnesota Twins. And it's coming to win right after this. Welcome back to Fort Myers as we get ready for the Twins and Red Sox tonight on a cool night as Ron Gardenhire has brought over his Twins team. Last year got his 900th win. A very good manager at the helm of the Twins and hoping for better results this season than last for Minnesota. Mentioned his 900th win last year. It's 12 seasons with the Twins. As we check out his starting 9 tonight. In center field leading it off is Aaron Hicks, who we talked about off the top as he is opening some eyes in camp for the Twins. Brian Dozier at second base, bats second with Josh Willingham, the DH. Ryan Doumit does the catching, batting fourth with Trevor Plouffe at third base. Brandon Boggs in left field. It's Joe Benson in right field. Jeff Clement at first base. And Pedro Florimon is at shortstop batting ninth for Minnesota. And Jerry, tonight on the mound for the Red Sox is Ryan Dempster.
He's had a great spring. You see what he did last year in 28 starts, a 12-game record, 3.38 ERA, spending time both the National League and the American League. So far this spring, a total of 5 innings against St. Louis and the Yankees. Only 1 hit allowed, no runs, and has 4 strikeouts.
Red Sox defense has Johnny Gomes in left, Jacoby Ellsbury in center, Ryan Sweeney in right, third to first, Will Middlebrooks, Jose Iglesias, Dustin Pedroia, Will Middlebrooks, and doing the catching is Ryan LaVarnway for Ryan Dempster. It's actually Daniel Nava who is at first base tonight. Middlebrooks not at third and first, but he is at third base.
Well, that would be a story anyway.
He has been ailing lately, bit of a stomach problem, but back in the Red Sox lineup for tonight's game. Ryan Dempster ready to work, and Aaron Hicks stands in. And Ron Coomer, everybody excited about Aaron Hicks, a guy who played Double-A baseball last year, first-round draft choice for the Twins, but he's a guy everybody's looking at right now.
Well, they are, and the Minnesota Twins are really in need of a center fielder. Obviously, we traded Denard Span and Ben Revere. Aaron Hicks, a guy that's been talked about a lot. Going into spring right now, he's got to be the leading candidate. He's been hot. He's hit 5 home runs in the last 3 games. One doesn't really count because it was an exhibition game, but he's hit 5 home runs, 3 yesterday, and he is an exciting player.
Last year, spending the entire year at Double-A New Britain. So it'd be a pretty good jump for him to come to the big leagues this year. But you think it could happen?
Well, I think they're looking at him for sure. He's one of those guys with extreme talent, 5-tool guy. He can run. He really has a great arm from center field. They're really excited about the way he goes and gets the ball. They were comparing him to Ben Revere from last year, who could really run. So, you know, it's exciting for a young guy. It's not very often, Jerry, as we've seen, guys, is a guy making a jump from Double-A to the big leagues, but he's a first-round pick with a lot of ability.
3-1 pitch from Dempster is in the air to left field. Johnny Gomes makes his way in, and Gomes will put it away for out number 1. A nice night in Fort Myers. A little warmer today than it's been the last couple of days. 68 degrees to start the game. But I understand that it's not so nice up in Minnesota, and certainly not nice at home in Boston.
Well, I know in Boston it was bad, but I plowed snow yesterday and got on the plane yesterday night to get out here. So the snow is piled high in front of the Coomer House, that's for sure.
And they say, what, about 22 inches back in the Boston area?
It's been quite a winter.
It's really nice to see green grass right now, I'll tell you that, guys.
Now here's Brian Dozier, the second baseman for the Twins. This one slap foul off to the right. When you take a look at the Twins, and boy, you look at that division and you look at what last year's Detroit Tigers did, and thinking about this year and the fact that Victor Martinez is not going to be out of their lineup, I would think they would be the team you're looking at in the Central.
Well, you have to look at their starting pitching, and then, as we talked about, as you said, Don, Victor Martinez. To me, 2 years ago, he was one of the most underrated hitters, protecting Cabrera, but he drove in so many big runs. You'd get 2 outs and 2 men on, and it seemed like he'd hit a ball in the gap. So he's the one X factor with that team. Adding him just brings another professional at bat to the plate.
Dempster strikes out Dozier. First strikeout, Jerry. Our second look at Dempster has looked pretty good so far.
Yeah, Dempster goes upstairs with the fastball. I really wanted to go away with this, but instead it goes up and in, and no contact by Dozier here. So Dempster, who has had a great spring, as we talked about, gets a couple of easy outs here in the first inning.
Dempster was 5-5 last year with the Cubs, with a nifty 2.25 ERA for finishing the year with Texas, and was 7-3, but had a 5.09 ERA. There's Josh Willingham, who had a terrific season last year. 35 home runs, 110 runs batted in. Nice addition to the Twins.
Well, that's a phenomenal addition. We needed right-handed power bat in the middle of the lineup to get between Mauer and Morneau. And he comes in, and he just really provided a lot. Quality guy, and a leader of our ball club now, or one of them. So he added something that this team was desperately needing. And he's just consistent all year. And I think, you know, when you look at hitters, Jerry, the ups and downs of hitting, he was a consistent guy in the lineup. He was a guy that knocked in big runs, and he ran out there every day, and the Minnesota Twins really were in need of that.
And he really did it in a lineup that was not all that potent last year. And to put up those kind of numbers in that lineup is very impressive.
And in that ballpark, I mean, you talk about Target Field, that is one of the biggest plays, the biggest of one of the parks in the league. And for him to knock in the runs that he did and hit 35 home runs, saying something.
Getting back to Hicks for a second, you were talking about him, and you know what a perfect situation to come in. A team that's struggling a little bit, Minnesota, looking for players, and then get guys from Double-A to come up and play in the big leagues.
High pop up on the infield. It's IGLESIAS, equidistant between second and third, will put it away. Dempster enjoys a 1-2-3 first inning. Red Sox are coming up from JetBlue Park after this. It's Southwest.com. Be there for the opening homestand of the 2013 season as the Baltimore Orioles visit Fenway Park for a 3-game series, starting with the home opener April 8th through April 11th. The action continues April 12th through Marathon Monday on the 15th when the Sox battle Tampa Bay. Get your tickets for these great matchups at redsox.com/tickets. Minnesota Twins don't score in the top of the first inning. Red Sox coming up in the bottom of the first inning. John Farrell at the helm of the Red Sox. First year as a manager after spending 2 years with Toronto. Of course, returning to the Red Sox organization. He was the pitching coach here before, now the manager for the Red Sox. Jacoby Ellsbury leads it off in center field. Dustin Pedroia at second base, bats second. Ryan Sweeney in right. Johnny Gomes in left field with Daniel Nava at first base. Will Middlebrooks back at third base. He bats sixth with Brian LaVarnway doing the catching, while Overbay is the DH. Jose Iglesias is at shortstop. Mike Pelfrey on the mound tonight for the Twins.
Well, Pelfrey, one of the pickups for the Minnesota Twins. You look at his stats. Last year, 33 starts. He's coming off of Tommy John surgery, and this could be one of the first guys to come back as soon as he has from the Tommy John surgery. Staff is really looking forward to watching him pitch. Tonight we're going to look at the tilt of his fastball. 6'7" on the mound, really pitches downhill, and to me that's one of the things that makes it tough on Boston hitters.
Ron, it is remarkable. He had the surgery in May, so here he is pitching in spring training.
That's really an incredible turnaround. That's a credit to him. A lot of hard work.
Yesterday I was at the ballpark and talking to the staff and the trainers after the ball game, and they were saying how they have to back him off. He's there real early in the morning doing a lot of running. His body's in great shape. So he's one of those guys that has worked his way back, and that's, you know, just hard work is why he's on the mound now.
You know, he's been in the Mets organization the last 7 years. The Tommy John surgery last year in May, and here he is pitching in spring training for the Twins. Jacoby Ellsbury leading it off ahead 2-0, and a liner into left center field for a base hit. Brandon Boggs over to play it, but Ellsbury aboard with a leadoff single. Let's check out the Minnesota Twins defensively tonight. Brandon Boggs in left, Aaron Hicks in center, Joe Benson around in right. Third to first, Trevor Plouffe at third base. Pedro Florimon is at shortstop, Ryan Dozier at second, Jeff Clement at first. Ryan Dolman doing the catching for Mike Pelfrey tonight for the Minnesota Twins. So Jacoby Ellsbury aboard to begin things here in the bottom of the first inning, and brings up Dustin Pedroia.
Well, we'll see how quick that move is to home plate for Pelfrey. Usually you got guys that are very tall, it'll take a long time to get the ball over to first base, and that gives certainly Ellsbury an advantage as far as stealing second.
When you look at his first move, knee goes up high like you're saying, Jerry. You know, it does. It just takes them a lot longer to unfold than us guys. A little shorter.
One to Pedroia, bounce in, and even up at 1-1.
Well, that's one way to protect it. A little bit of a slide step that time.
Well, off the top, we were talking about both of your all-star appearances, and Ron, it had to be amazing to be part of the 1999 all-star game at Fenway Park.
Well, first of all, whenever you know, as a young player, you got to play in Fenway Park, it was something special. But then to play in the 99 all-star game.
This is out to right. Benson is out there waiting. He'll put it away.
Yeah, to play in the 99 all-star game, the all-century team is there. And just to see the greats that are living at the time. You know, I got to talk to Stan Musial and some of the great Red Sox who was from Carlton. Fisk was there. He was our team captain. He's the one that taught me how to hit in the minor league. So, you know, Molitor was there, and I had some friends. And just to be around that group, talking to Brooks Robinson as a third baseman, I could have stayed there all day. So it was a special moment. Fenway Park and the Boston Red Sox was the perfect spot for the All-Star game. You know, it's something I'll never forget. To bring my dad there, so it was a cool moment.
And of course, Ted Williams coming out onto the field as part of that. An amazing night at Fenway Park. And, you know, we talk to Pedro Martinez about it all the time, but his display that night was incredible to start that game.
He blew. We had a pretty good lineup. You know, he was our the National League, and he blew through McGuire and Sosa like they weren't even there, and he was just letting it rip at 97 and sit down. It was pretty fun on the bench watching that.
Well, a great all-star memory, and Jerry, back in 1978.
That was a great memory for me. I didn't get in the game. It's perfect. Didn't have a chance to mess up. Just an honor to be there, though, at that time.
Well, you could have did what I did, and I looked to hook one over the bottle and left, and instead I struck out. So I was
They were actually saving me for extra innings. If they went 20 innings, I was in there.
You're hitting it. One out, one on. Ryan Sweeney batting here for the Red Sox, trying to find his way into the outfield mix after being there last year. And that move appeared to freeze Ellsbury right away. He does get back, though.
Pelfrey right there with a good move, quick feet. And that's the important thing for a pitcher with his move to first base, is getting his feet moving so his arm can catch up. That was a pretty good move by the big right-hander.
Actually, for a tall guy, he doesn't give you as much as most tall guys do. I mean, he's not fast to the plate, but he's a little bit quicker than most guys his size. That leg kick is not really that high.
And the check on Ellsbury, and again, close back to the bag.
That's a good example of what you were talking about, the quick feet to first base.
You know, it borders on that jump move, but he definitely gets his front foot going towards first base, so it's not a balk. But, you know, in first look, he's got a pretty good move to first.
Tillman trying to bring it back to the corner was unsuccessful, and it's 3-1. Ryan Sweeney hitting at .260 last year for the Red Sox. There's Johnny Gomes waiting on deck. There's the Sox bat here in the bottom of the first inning. Sweeney tried to hold up, but goes around, and it's a full count now.
Good action on that pitch here. That ball going down and away from Sweeney. 87-mile-an-hour turnover fastball, it looked like.
And Jerry, when you look at Pelfrey, to me, guys that were tall like that could pitch up to down and had that good tilt on their fastball, that to me gave them an extra 3 or 4 miles on their fastball.
Ellsbury takes off, but it's ball 4 to Ryan Sweeney. So Pelfrey loses him, and the Red Sox have runners at first and second with 1 down.
Yeah, I agree with you. You know, I remember days facing Jim Palmer, and, you know, Palmer stand on top of that mountain. He looked like he was about 11 feet tall.
Yeah.
And it was tough, boy, to pick up that fastball and curveball.
And now let me ask you with Palmer, because he was so over the top shooting down. So when his curveball came out, did it come out flat? And that's what I'm assuming, because hitters had such a hard time picking up his breaking ball
very difficult.
with the high fastball.
Very difficult. I mean, throw that high fastball up around your neck, and then to be able to drop that curveball down around your ankles.
Well, you must have faced Randy Johnson, yes?
I faced Randy Johnson too many times.
Yeah,
it was. Very much so. Yep.
Well, you did fairly well. Your first career home run was off Randy Johnson, so you weren't all that worried about him.
You know that blind squirrel story, Doc. You're scared, you swing, you hit one, and all good. But Randy Johnson obviously threw right at 100 miles an hour. But the difference about Randy Johnson is he threw more from the side than he threw from up top. So his ball moved a lot more side to side than it did up and down. And that was the difference between a guy like Pelfrey, or as Jerry's talking about, Jim Palmer going downhill. Much more difficult to me, unless you throw 99, that is.
Well, Pelfrey working here in the first inning. He's just walked Ryan Sweeney. Runners at first and second, 1 out. And Johnny Gomes, the batter, a count of 1-1. Gomes, who had stitches in his knee after trying to make a catch in Sarasota against the Orioles in a ball that went out of the yard, and had some stitches, missed the last couple of games, back in there tonight for the Red Sox. And last year, a member of the Oakland A's. 18 home runs a year ago for the surprise A's, who got to the postseason against the Tigers.
Certainly Minnesota fans are aware of this, but Boston fans may not be. When Ron Coomer was announced at the Metrodome, it was Ron Coomer.
It's the great thing about having that kind of name. You didn't know if they were booing you or cheering you.
Ball 2 strikes to Johnny Gomes. We're on the new stadium in Minnesota, Target Field. We were actually there for opening day,
right,
when the place was opened up. But you got to have great memories of the Metrodome.
I do. It was one of those parks that there were times you didn't like going there because it was a beautiful sunny day, on a Sunday afternoon in Minneapolis, and you'd go into the Dome. You guys know. And then, you know, there were also some times I got a lot of firsts in my big league career in the Metrodome. So, you know, and a lot of memories playing for the Minnesota Twins in the Dome. So there's some good, some bad, but, you know, a lot of great moments with my teammates and with the Minnesota Twins. Yep.
Target Field, a beautiful venue now. And a lot of fans.
So far, I mean, you guys haven't had that many rainouts or anything. I think people are concerned about playing outdoors as you did at one time in Minnesota, but it's like anywhere in the Northeast, I would think.
That's exactly right, and we're gonna get our taste of it this year. We open up at home April 1, and we've got about, you know, 1.5 feet of snow on the ground right now. But I was over at the ballpark a couple days ago, and they're starting to shovel it and move it, and you know, it's like Boston, or you go to the Northeast and the Upper Midwest, and you know, we got to deal with playing in some cold weather. But would you rather be in a dome stadium, or would you rather have a beautiful ballpark that most of the year you play outside? To me, it's a no-brainer.
Runners going on a broken back grounder back to the mound. Pelfrey goes to second anyway. Safe there. Throw to first is not in time. So that did not work out at all for the Twins on a comebacker to the mound. Red Sox base runners were in motion, and everybody's safe with one down.
Yeah, big tie-up, too, at second base. I think the wise choice, especially early in the ball game, would have been to just go to first base, get the shore out, but they still try to get the man at second base. They can't do that. They get tied up around second base and late at first. So, you know, what could have been 2 outs and men at second and third, now you're in a big jam with bases loaded and only the 1 out.
Jaron, we got 2 young middle infielders playing right now. That's kind of the shortstop's job, isn't it? To kind of direct traffic and tell the pitcher to go to first base with that ball?
Absolutely.
Well, bases loaded now, 1 down. Daniel Nava, the batter.
Either that, Ron, or the catcher.
Right, yeah.
Could be yelling out there in which direction he wants him to go, to second base or first base. But those are the kind of things that open up big innings.
Bases filled with Red Sox. Nava has been taking ground balls at first base and playing there for the Red Sox. Gets the start tonight at first base. This one cranked foul off to the left. Adding to Nava's versatility. John Farrell was talking about him before the game today, and that he was told before even coming down here to bring a first baseman's mitt, and that he was going to be working out there and given a chance to get on the team as a first baseman outfielder. And he has worked very hard at first base and sharing time with Mike Napoli. Mike Karp in the mix as well. So is Lyle Overbay, first base. Foul back, 1-2.
That's a good pitch by Pelfrey right there. He's in trouble. Bases loaded, 1 out, 1-1 count. And instead of going away and keep soft away, I like when a pitcher early in a ball game comes hard and comes in and attacks hitters. That was a good pitch right under the hands.
Yeah, really did a nice job at tying up Nava on that that swing. The best result he's going to get out of that is a little pop-up.
Right.
It's away, and it's 2-2 now to Nava.
Tried to follow up that fastball in with it looked like a change-up away, and missing off the outside corner.
Well, Middlebrooks waiting on deck. Twins outfield straight away and pretty deep on Nava. That's in there for strike 3. Nava didn't like it. He takes with him the first strikeout for Pelfrey. A big K right there, 2 down.
Well, and that's a fastball that he threw to get strike 2 underneath the hands of Nava. And he goes right back in there with a 2-seamer that starts out inside. And you see the little buckle action, and there it is.
And as Ron Kuma calls it, a lane changer.
The lane changer, baby. Got me right in the broadcast booth, buddy.
I remember that. I stole that from him, too.
Yeah.
In 2009.
You're a thief.
I'm a thief. 2009, we worked together, and I took that and I used it ever since, and I called it my own.
I stole it from someone else, too, so don't worry about it.
It's a lane changer. I love that.
Yeah, there's Will Middlebrooks. 2 outs, bases loaded. Will hitting at .288 last year before going on the DL for the remainder of the season, and a fractured wrist. Sends one out in the air to right field pretty deep. Joe Benson going back at the wall.
ball. Benson will make the catch out there and bang into the wall. Nice catch by Benson. And Mike Pelfrey certainly enjoys that. Red Sox lead. The base is loaded. Benson with a good running grab to end the inning. We are scoreless after one. Twins and Red Sox scoreless as we get ready for the second inning. Well, we got a lot of ties tonight between Boston and Minnesota, and one of them certainly our newest member of our broadcast team on NESN and Minnesota native, Jamie Erdahl. Jamie?
Yeah, Don, I feel right at home seeing these two teams play in Fort Myers. Fort Myers neighbors right here at JetBlue Park, but we have some familiar faces missing from the game tonight because of the World Baseball Classic. Most notably from the Red Sox, Shane Victorino is playing for Team USA, wearing number 50, of course, to represent his home state of Hawaii. And for the Twins, Justin Morneau playing for Team Canada, and Glenn Perkins and Joe Mauer are both playing for Team USA, joining the Flying Hawaiian. They are both playing in their first World Baseball Classic.
All right, thanks very much, Jamie. And Ron, it's got to be a lot of fun to be around Joe Mauer and Justin Morneau every day.
Well, it is, and you're talking about obviously two extremely talented players, but on top of it, they're great people, and that's, you know, been the frustrating part for the Minnesota Twins the last couple of years. They've just been banged up at times, and you haven't had them out there. But I think both of them this year are healthy. You know,
it's a fair ball. Liner down the first baseline off the bat of Domit. He will pull it up with a single on a hot shot right down that right field line.
You know, Don, when you take one or two guys out of your lineup that have MVP type caliber players, it just makes it really difficult. The Twins have struggled. So we see Domit take this fastball and hook it down the line for a base hit.
Yeah, the Red Sox had the shift on right there, but right over the head of Daniel Nava at first base, and a good bounce off the wall to Sweeney, and that's going to hold Dauman to a single. Most other ballparks, that'd be a double.
Lead runner on for the Twins here in the second inning. Trevor Plouffe, the batter. 235 average last year, 24 home runs, 55 runs batted in, and 119 games for the Twins.
Plouffe, the guy for the Minnesota Twins that really took off. He got the starting job, you know, in May, and Gardy just, go ahead, it's going to be yours, and he responded very well. He had a few ups and downs, but when you look at his numbers with the amount of games played, you know, 25 home runs from the right side. A guy that's kind of settling in to be a third baseman. He played short and was a little erratic. They moved him to right field and saw that he could swing the bat. And Jerry, when you move around positions a lot, it's tough offensively. He settled into third base, and all of a sudden you start seeing the numbers start piling up for Trevor Plouffe.
Swings and misses at the 0-2, and Dempster picks up his second strikeout. First out of the second inning.
First strikeout for Dempster was on a fastball. This time it looked like a slider to pick up the strikeout. Quickly gets ahead and goes to that breaking ball off the outside part of the plate for the strikeout. You're right, Ron. Moving around is defensively very, very difficult. I don't care what organization or what level of baseball you're at. Major leagues is just as tough. and it affects your hitting a lot. And it's interesting how he was moved around, but he gave able to improve his hitting while he was doing so. That's a credit to him.
There's Brandon Boggs playing in left field tonight for the Twins. Last year at AAA, playing in Indianapolis at a .259. In between innings, you were talking about Ryan Dempster, and certainly Red Sox Nation eager to find out about Ryan Dempster and what he's going to bring to the table this year.
Well, I got to know him in Chicago as him being a Chicago Cub, and I would go down to Scottsdale or Mesa where they would work out for the Cubs fantasy camp, and you always saw him with all the young pitchers leading everything that was going on, and you just looked at him and said, that's what a veteran player on a ball club should be all about. And we were talking about him in Minnesota as a possible pickup for the Twins because you know the high character of Ryan Dempster. It's a great pickup for the Boston Red Sox. Jerry, as you were saying, he's a 200-inning guy and eats up innings year after year, but it's also the stuff that he does in the dugout and the clubhouse that he's going to bring to this Red Sox organization.
A lot of the talk has been, well, he can pitch in the National League, but he can't pitch in the American League. I don't buy that. It takes a while to establish something like that. I don't think he's had enough time in the American League to be criticized for that.
Now, the numbers last year with the Cubs had the nifty 2.25 earned run average. Red Sox faced him in interleague play at Wrigley Field, and then he went to Texas where he did have a 5.09 earned run average, but much smaller sample size. As he gets jammed here, and a pop-up off the bat of Boggs will find its way into the crowd. Boggs getting confirmation from home plate umpire Marvin Hudson of the count. It's 1-2. Jerry, it was interesting yesterday to watch Clay Buchholz throw, and he faced the Twins yesterday. John Farrell had him speeding up in between pitches, and it really worked out very well yesterday.
Well, I think you're going to see that.
Towards short, Iglesias to second for one, on to first, not in time. They do get the lead runner in Domet at second base, 2 down.
I think you're going to see that, Don, with a lot of the Red Sox pitches this year, in particular Clay Buchholz, Felix Doubront. I think Farrell's on board with these guys working quickly and getting the pace of the game going a little bit, and have them thinking less on the mound than what they have to be. It seems at times like they were working so slow, they were overthinking the game instead of getting the ball back and just letting it fly. And I think that yesterday was a great example. You saw Buchholz pitch, and he had a nice pace going, and I think we're going to see that from a lot of Red Sox pitchers. Hopefully.
He had 3 shutout innings yesterday. 2 of the innings were just 8 pitches in length, and it was great to see. And certainly over the past few years, we talked a lot about Josh Beckett's pace, and it seemed that some were following suit in that regard and really slowing it down. Don't think, just throw, and that's what Buchholz did yesterday. And, of course, John Lester at times also working deliberately for the Red Sox.
When you think in this game, you just get in trouble.
Joe Benson waiting on an 0-1, and that is strike 2, 0-2. And, of course, we're all about pitchers working more quickly. It's back to us, about us.
It's been us for a long time because we said that from the infield, too. Let's go, throw the ball.
Let's go. Lead off first for Brandon Boggs, reaching on the fielder's choice with 2 outs here in the inning. On the ground left side, Middlebrooks cuts it off on the run and in time. Throws out Benson to end the top of the second. Played an inning and a half tonight from JetBlue Park. The Red Sox and Twins are scoreless. Dempster through 2 innings, pitched well here tonight, giving up just the 1 hit. Inning and a half deep into this one as the Sox come to bat in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Mike Pelfrey back on the hill, get out of a mess in the 1st inning. As the Red Sox had the bases loaded, he proceeded to strike out Nava, get a little help from his right fielder Joe Benson on a long fly out for Will Middlebrooks. And the Red Sox will feature the bottom 3rd of their order here in the bottom of the 2nd. Ryan LaVarnway, Lyle Overbay, and Jose Iglesias scheduled to bat. Here it appears Ryan LaVarnway is kind of on the outside looking in as far as the catching situation, and it appears as of right now, got a long way to go in spring training, but it seems as if he may begin the year in Pawtucket.
Well, it seems that way. They've got Saltalamacchia, of course, and David Ross, who they picked up in the offseason, and LaVarnway, who did struggle a bit offensively last season when he was with the Red Sox, maybe ticketed back to AAA to start the season. And, of course, a lot can happen between now and in the end of spring training. An injury, of course, could change all that. But it seems right now there's no way the Red Sox are going to carry 3 catches.
They're coming inside, set up inside, and they miss in. 1-2 now to LaVarnway.
Looks like on the pitch previous to that, he just slipped on the swing, turned his ankle.
And what does a pitcher do? Go right back in there and throw that ball in there again.
Right back down and in.
Outside corner for strike 3. LaVarnway gets the bad news from Marvin Hudson and takes with him the 2nd strikeout for Pelfrey. 1 down.
It's a good pitch by Pelfrey in the outside corner to get strike 3, and that's all set up by the pitches inside, throwing them for strikes and inside off the plate. And that just gives you the chance to throw the little lane changer on the outside corner for strike 3.
1 down, 4 in a row now retired by Pelfrey. And here is Lyle Overbay. Overbay takes strike 1. Time in Arizona and Atlanta last year. We saw a lot of Lyle Overbay as a member of the Toronto Blue Jays in his time at first base for the Jays. And in the mix here, trying to grab a spot at first base for the Red Sox.
You guys were talking about your catching situation and the sign that you had this year with David Ross. He was one of my teammates. I was going one direction and he was coming into the league. It was my last year in Los Angeles, but what a great young guy he was as a rookie in 2003. But tremendous power, just a strong hitter. Now he's been a backup back and forth through the years, but very good receiver, throws the ball well, but tremendous power for a right-handed hitter. And a great young guy. You guys have made some very good pickups of quality people with this Red Sox organization.
That was their intention, certainly in the offseason. They had the nucleus to work around, and they had to fill in some pieces of the puzzle. And all the guys they brought in have just been quality characters so far.
Ross along with Johnny Gomes, Shane Victorino on that list as well. Of course, away for World Baseball Classic. There's a swing and a miss for Overbay, and it's back-to-back case here for Pelfrey.
Well, so far Pelfrey looks pretty good. He had a little trouble in the first, but pitched out of it. And now you're seeing a little off-speed pitch that just fades away from Overbay for strike 3. He swings over the top of it. But so far, what I've liked about Pelfrey is he's not afraid to pitch in. And to me, that's what set up some of these pitches away. And he's been aggressive in the strike zone. Other than he had a little moment there in the first inning where he pitched around the zone a little bit. But since then, he's been pounding the ball inside on some of the Red Sox hitters.
2 down here in the 2nd inning. Jose Iglesias in the game. He was not in the original starting lineup today. Stephen Drew was, but Drew was hit in the head with a pitch yesterday at Hammond Stadium against the Twins, and he is okay, but did have some concussion-like symptoms overnight, so he came out of the lineup today for the Red Sox. Iglesias getting the start at shortstop. Swinging a foul tip, 1-2.
Yeah, Drew will have to be cleared by Major League Baseball before he gets back into the lineup, and we don't have any idea how long that'll be down here in spring training. But it's kind of weird. The ball hit the bill of the cap of the helmet and still was able to suffer some type of concussion, a very mild concussion, but still, nonetheless, he's got to be checked out by Major League Baseball.
Had some trouble reading last night. That's when he first noticed it. Yeah, it's certainly much different now across Major League Baseball, the procedure. As this one to right field, Benson coming in to make the catch and to end the second inning. Dick Bramer will be with you here at JetBlue Park when we come back. We're scoreless at the end of 2.
These Fort Myers neighbors, Boston Red Sox, Minnesota Twins. I'm Dick Bramer, Ron Coomer, and Jerry Remy. You guys, big, I know, followers of the Mayor's Cup, the trophy that goes on between these two teams.
It's huge. It's huge.
we were wondering, little action.
Well, this is the first 2 games have gone Boston's way, and no score here as we go into the 3rd inning. And Jeff Clement will be the leadoff batter for the Twins, to be followed by Pedro Florimon and Aaron Hicks. Facing Ryan Dempster, has had a couple of very good innings again here. Just 2 hits allowed now for Dempster in 7 innings pitched in the spring, and the Red Sox have to be thrilled with what they've seen so far. And I heard, Jerry, you say you don't think it's that big of a deal. Coming over 15 years in the National League and a few months last year with the Texas Rangers, you don't think that'll be a tough transition at all?
I just think that's too small a sample. I mean, you know, this guy's an established guy. He's pitched in a lot of small National League parks. You mentioned Wrigley Field. Ron mentioned Wrigley Field. If he can be successful there, he can be successful in the American League. And certainly Red Sox fans are hoping for that. And I think he's got a little chip on his shoulder. I think he's tired of hearing about the fact that he can't pitch in the American League.
Clement with a line drive to center right at Ellsbury for the first out of the 3rd inning, and that'll bring up Pedro Florimon. Jerry, you were talking about Iglesias and how he's unproven offensively for the Red Sox. They think he's going to be very good defensively. That's kind of where the Twins are with this young man, Pedro Florimon, a switch hitter. They think he's potentially the best fielding shortstop they've had in quite some time, but they're a little unsure about whether he can hit.
Well, you know, it's tough. I mean, it depends on what kind of club you're on. I mean, if you get a team that's going to score a lot of runs, you can carry just a glove at that position. And, you know, maybe he has the opportunity, if he's that good defensively, to be that type of ball player.
1-1 to Florimon, and he takes a strike on the inside corner.
Well, and Jerry, I think it's important for him as a young player. He has to do the job defensively, and I think that's what we've seen in Minnesota, where we've had a little bit of a rotating spot at shortstop. And the one thing Ron Gardenhire really wants is a solid middle infield, and that's what this organization has been built on, is good defense. The last couple of years, the defense has struggled. But this kid, as we've seen last year, Dick, really good. He can go to the hole. He's got a good, strong arm. But the soft hands, and you just can't teach that.
Right.
2-2 to Florimon. Slap to short. Iglesias has an easy hop to play. 2 down. And that'll bring up Aaron Hicks. Guys, this is my first time at JetBlue Fenway South, and it's an impressive facility. It's just a gorgeous ballpark. And I'm wondering whether As you look at the center field area, Jerry, you and I talked about this at Fenway Park. I've always thought that has to be the toughest center field to play in the American League. And I wonder if Hicks goes forward now and wins this job for the Minnesota Twins, whether playing in this ballpark might not help him when if he comes to Fenway Park in May.
I think it will. I mean, I think one of the reasons the Red Sox did this in particular would be to help their ball club, the young players in particular, when they get to Fenway Park. And you mentioned Hicks, a guy that's possibly going to be out there, and you start to see the little angles out there, the 379 at the 420. The bullpen comes back out. It's a tough position to play, and the more reps you can get out there, the better.
2-0 to Hicks. Hit a fly ball to left his first time up. Swing and a miss, 2-1.
That split-fingered fastball that time from Dempster.
Two and one to the Twins shortstop, and just inside, ball 3. Driven foul down the right field line, and it's 3-2. Hicks with the 3 home runs yesterday in Clearwater, all 3 as a right-handed batter, but he has hit 2 out as a left-handed batter in the last 3 games. One in the exhibition game against Puerto Rico, and the other one over in Jupiter against Jason Mott of the Cardinals. This one hooked into the corner, and it will get into the corner. Hicks can fly, and he'll dig for second and hold up with a 1-out double. So the first liner hooked foul into the seats, and the second one stayed fair into the corner.
Well, and now you know why he hit the 2 home runs from the left-handed side. It's the second fastball that Dempster threw in. That's a quality swing on a pitch on the inner part of the plate. So he hits 3 home runs right-handed, and he took some good swings left-handed on some pitches from a very quality big league starter in off the plate. Hicks is a guy with a very quick bat and looked very fundamentally sound with those swings. And if he's going to be able, if he can handle that inside fastball from both sides of the plate, he's going to be successful, because then they're going to have to pitch to him. And I think that's what most pitchers look for in a young player. Can they handle that ball in early in their career?
Well, he certainly showed a quick bat that time, and I was watching him run, and had there been probably 1 out in the inning, he might have tried to take 3, and he might have got a triple out of that. With 2 outs, he played it safe, as he should, and now he's in scoring position at second base.
Dozier took a fastball high for ball 1. He struck out on a fastball. Here's a line drive base hit up the middle. Hicks will round third. Heading home, Ellsbury's throw is cut off, and the Twins get a pair of 2-out hits on the game's first run.
Well, and that's what the Minnesota Twins are hoping for Hicks to be a guy that can set the table and get on base, and have a guy like Brian Dozier be able to add some offense. We know Dozier can swing the bat. He's been moved from short to second base, but right there gets the high fastball from Dempster and just shoots it right back through the middle of the diamond. I think that's important for Dozier to stay within himself as a hitter, especially hitting in a 2-hole today. Don't try to hit the ball out of the park, but stay within yourself and play the ball back through the middle of the field.
And that's going to make the manager very happy. 2 outs in the inning. You get the leadoff man up there. He gets that double. Next guy drives him in. You got the lead in the ball game.
And the number 3 hitter tonight, Josh Willingham, at the plate. He had a pop up to short his first time up, and he takes a strike in the outside corner. The Twins, as Jamie mentioned, are without Joe Mauer and Justin Morneau. They're 3 and 5 hitters in their regular lineup. Willingham last year had the great year with the 35 home runs. And a long hold by Dempster, and now the 1-strike pitch bounced toward the hole and through. And 3 straight 2-out hits. But Willingham was able to do something that the likes of Michael Kadire and some other really good right-handed hitters weren't able to do, and that is split up Mauer and Morneau. The Twins for years had those 2 left-handed batters hitting back-to-back, and Willingham was a nice fit in between the 2 former league MVPs.
got on top of a high off-speed pitch that time, and a mistake by Dempster as he kept the ball up in the zone, something off-speed, maybe the split-fingered fastball, and that ground ball finds a hole between third and short.
With Mauer gone in the World Baseball Classic, Ryan Domit has been doing the bulk of the catching for the Twins. And a first pitch strike. Last year, the Twins did carry 3 catchers for most of the season. Domit, kind of a utility catcher, if you will. He'll play some in the outfield, be a regular designated hitter.
And he was another guy that did a very good job hitting behind the heart of the lineup when you had Mauer, Willingham, Morneau. And then he was a guy that was really able to protect all 3 of them. Had some punch in his bat, switch hitter, and able to do some things for the Twins that they were really needing from the catching spot to give Joe Mauer a break and add offense when he caught.
1-2 now to Domit. Jerry, the Twins find themselves in a bit of a dilemma with Domit because they want his bat in the lineup, and when you have your regular catcher and your backup catcher as a designated hitter, you're almost forced to carry 3 catches.
You almost have to carry 3 catches in that situation, yes.
And Drew Butera did that. Butera also missing from the club. He's on the Italian team in the World Baseball Classic. 1-2, and Domit takes low, 2-2. And Domit, like Hicks and Florimone, a switch hitter. And if he should extend the inning, Trevor Plouffe would have a chance here in the 3rd. Dempster got the first 2 batters, but then Hicks, Dozier, and Willingham all reached safely. And Domit taps it foul.
One thing I'd like to get into next inning with you guys, and it's been something that's been talked around baseball for years and years, the Minnesota Twins' way of playing baseball. And it goes back to Tom Kelly, to Gardenhire. It seems like they're always prepared to play, regardless whether they're winning, losing. They run balls out hard. They break up double plays. They do small things, little that you're supposed to do in baseball. I mean, that everybody's supposed to do. Seems like it's been a consistent theme with them.
Bounce to the left side and through the hole. Dozier around third. He'll head home. And he'll score. It's the 4th straight 2-out hit. And Domit beat the shift, scoring Dozier from second base.
Well, and Dempster's kind of been the victim of some seeing eye base hits. This is a ball hit through the hole, and with the shift on, the shortstop spot is vacated, and Speedy Dozier scores easily on the base hit to left field. But as you said, Jerry, Dempster this inning has gotten a couple off-speed pitches up in the zone, and he's paid the price a little bit.
This seemed to be more of an accident than anything else. He gets that pitch up and away, and he's got the wide open hole on the left side of the infield. Throw's going to be a little late out there from Johnny Gomes. And a 2-0 Minnesota lead here as they do some. This is actually the toughest inning that Dempster has had so far this spring.
Just 2 hits allowed leading into this inning, and now 4 consecutive hits. Juan Nieves has said his piece. And Trevor Plouffe coming to the plate. Plouffe struck out on 3 pitches in the 2nd inning. And now a near mirror image of the shift that the Red Sox put on for Domit, with Pedroia almost lined up behind the second base bag. And Jerry, I know you've seen it, and you saw it when John Farrell was the manager of the Blue Jays. There'll be more activity in the infield, more shifting in the infield than probably any Boston manager's done in quite some time. Here's a pop-up, a tall one. And Middlebrooks taking charge. Calling off LAVARNWAY, and that finally ends the 3rd inning. The Twins get the first 2 runs, and we'll hear from Twins manager Ron Gardenhire in the bottom of the 3rd. Kramer, Jerry Remy, and Ron Coomer, joined by Twins manager Ron Gardenhire now as we go to the bottom of the third inning. Gardy, yesterday up in Clearwater, Florida, Aaron Hicks picked a good day to hit 3 home runs. The manager was there on a split squad day, and so was the general manager.
Dick, is there ever a bad day to hit 3 home runs? It doesn't matter who's there. You hit 3 home runs. That's a good day.
What are your impressions of the young man so far?
He's okay. Yeah, no, goodness gracious, he's playing about as well as you can play, and I like the way he goes about it. He doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low, and he's got all the ability in the world.
Ronnie Pelfrey pitching today. First inning, get a little rough. We got a few men on and pitched out of it, but looks aggressive, pitches in. What are your thoughts of Pelfrey coming back so soon from Tommy John?
He's doing great. You know, we work so hard, and the thing about him is, you know, he's a consummate professional. He's going about his business, but I think the first inning he got a little goosey out there, which, you know, he's been out for a while, so he settled in. The second one, he started using his fastball a little bit better, moving it in and out, and everything works off that for him. So, you know what, he's fun to watch.
Twins leading 2-0, and the leadoff batters Jacoby Ellsbury led off the first inning with a single, got as far as third base, and we're visiting with Ron Gardenhire. It's been a different camp, Gardy, for you. You've had to start it early like all teams have. How disruptive has the WBC been, losing really 2/3 of the middle of your lineup?
Yeah, we lost, you know, 13 guys, and, you know, Maurer and Morneau gone, and we saw Morneau and them get beat by Italy today, and he was the one telling me Colabello would be back here early, so I don't think he should be talking much more. So maybe he'll be watching Colabello play, and he can hold the job down until he gets back.
I think Chris drove in 4 runs, had a 3-run home run, something like that, a backup first baseman.
Yeah, he did. You know, it's fun to watch on TV, but we missed the guys, and you're just hoping to get them all back quick.
We got some young guys out there. Hicks obviously in center. Last inning you get 2 outs, and Hicks hits the double. And then right away you get Dozier. Those 2 young guys both trying to win a spot on the club and maybe a starting spot on the club. Good inning for them.
Yeah, that's a good inning. Dozier, you know, was up there yesterday and actually had, you know, a couple of good at-bats up with me up there in Clearwater, but bounces right back. You know, he fired on his backside a little bit better that time, got the bat head through and hit a rocket up the middle, and he has a lot of talent. He's really playing well at second base. You've seen what Hicks is doing, so that's what it's all about, watching these guys kind of, you know, play together. I like to see Florman and Dozier out there in the middle, and it's about watching them and see how it all goes.
Gardy, thanks a lot. We appreciate the time.
My pleasure, guys. Thank you.
All right, Ron Gardenhire, nice enough to take some time out. And not too happy, though, with Mike Pelfrey issuing a leadoff walk here in the third. So now, oh, it was a called strike. I beg your pardon. Ellsbury was on his way to first, and there's a home plate umpire, Marvin Hudson, ringing him up.
That's a pretty good job right there by Duman. Watch that glove come up to about the knees. Pretty good job behind the plate, stealing a strike right there.
So 1 gone, and here's Pedroia. Jerry, I want to ask you, Ron, you too. I look at Pelfrey. This is the 3rd time I've seen him pitch for the Twins. And to me, he reminds me of somebody who used to pitch primarily for the Twins. I think he finished his career with the Red Sox. Remember, big Mike Smithson. Smithson, I think, was 6'8". Pelfrey, a stockier version of Mike Smithson. But Smithson, like Pelfrey, sinker slider type pitcher, and really comes in over the top.
Yeah, I can see the similarities here with Smithson. I tell you, this has impressed me early in the going, and what Ron's been talking about, the ability to throw inside, not afraid to throw inside, and a lot of young pitchers, and a lot of pitchers, period, in the big leagues are afraid to throw inside for whatever reason, but he's not.
2-1 to Pedroia. And a strike on the outside corner.
Well, this guy hitting right here, Dustin Pedroia, one of my all-time favorite baseball players. I got to know Pedroia when he was playing at Arizona State for a friend of mine, Pat Murphy. Had got to see him play as a freshman and dominate the Pac-10 as a freshman, and have watched him play, and it's just an amazing story for a guy his size and what he can do in this game. Just an amazing story. MVP, Rookie of the Year. He's got the heart big as Texas, and he just does it all. And what energy he brings to the Red Sox.
Well, you know, we got the pleasure of watching him every day. And, you know, when he first came up to the big leagues, there were a lot of doubters. And he got off to a terrible start. And he kept saying, watch me. When I get hot, I get hot. And, man, did he ever get hot. And he hasn't stopped since.
Swing and a miss. And another strikeout for Mike Pelfrey. 2 in the inning and 5 already in the ballgame.
Well, you see Pelfrey right here, as we talked about, he's pitching inside and getting some strikes in, and then all of a sudden, once you start establishing that fastball in, that pitch starting out off the plate and coming back is a very effective pitch, especially now in spring training when the pitchers are quite a bit ahead of the hitters for the most part.
There's a pitch down low, ball one. You saw Pelfrey a couple of times shake off Domit, and that's something, guys, that is going to have to get ironed out. You know, Domit catching Pelfrey for the first time. When Mauer comes back, there's going to have to be a quick get-to-know him period, so both the pitcher and the catcher can get on the same page. Foul away, and it's 1-1.
Yeah, and it will be, and these guys will talk after each inning, and they'll go back, whether it's on the bus ride back home, and they'll discuss the outing tonight, and Domit will try to bridge that gap and talk about situations. And that's what spring training's all about when you get new guys, and you expect both of them have been around the block a few times. They'll get this ironed out pretty quick.
And the one positive thing you got a veteran catcher in Joe Mauer too, so it shouldn't be that big of an adjustment, I would think, for him to go in there and get on the same page.
1-2 to Ryan Sweeney. Walked his last time up. It's driven to left center field. And sliding and not making the catch is Boggs. And Sweeney's aboard for the second time.
Now, Sweeney basically is a center field to left field type hitter. And you can see the inside-out swing right here. It's got a little topspin on it, sinking quickly. A nice effort out there by Boggs. He at least blocks the ball and keeps it in front of him, and that keeps Sweeney out of scoring position. So a nice effort out there by the left fielder Boggs to hold that to a single.
And if they have a chance to chat over there, a couple of Iowa boys. Ryan Sweeney from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Jeff Clement from Marshalltown, about 45 miles to the west of Cedar Rapids. Johnny Gomes, the batter. And a strike over the inside corner. Gomes, a comebacker to the mound, and Pelfrey tried to get a force at second. And all hands were safe. The bases were loaded. It looked like the Red Sox were going to put up a crooked number in the first inning. But then Pelfrey retired the next two batters. One strike to Gomes. And now missing inside.
Jerry, we've both seen Gomes through the years play a little bit, and this is a good pickup for the Red Sox. He seems like he's a guy, you see his open stance, big strong right-handed hitter. He should be tailor-made to hit in Fenway Park.
Well, every time we get a right-handed hitter, they say that,
I believe that.
And I agree with you with Gomes because, most of the time when you see him, he's a dead fastball pull hitter.
Right.
And a guy that can't take advantage of that left field wall. Sometimes, though, guys come to Fenway Park and they get pulled crazy. And it really, it has an effect on him. Now, Mike Napoli, another pickup for the Red Sox right there. A guy that has done awfully well at Fenway Park and killed the Red Sox.
Popped up near second base. Dozier backpedals, puts it away, ends the inning. The Red Sox get a 2-out single, but the Twins have a 2-0 lead after 3. Dick Bramer along with Ron Coomer and Jerry Remy. Third meeting of the year between the Red Sox and the Twins. We move to the top of the fourth inning. Ryan Dempster sailed through 2 innings. Gave up 4 straight 2-out hits to the Twins in the third. Hence the 2-0 score. Brandon Boggs, Joe Benson, Jeff Clement will hit in the Twins' fourth. The first pitch on the outside corner. Boggs reached on a fielder's choice. Benson ended the inning with a ground ball, and for each of the 2 players, at least contact was made. Both players yesterday struck out 4 times in a ball game. Boggs trying to make the team as a bench player. Third baseman Middlebrooks in on the grass at third base. 1-1. And a strike at the knees. Jerry, we were talking about John Farrell in his first year with the Red Sox, and Red Sox fans will see, I think, more shifting in the infield than they've seen from any Boston manager in quite some time. If I can try to tell this story quickly, John Farrell brought the Blue Jays into Target Field in May of last year, and we all think of Joe Mauer as a great opposite field hitter. Farrell and the Blue Jays had Mauer shifted to pull. They had the shortstop behind second base and the third baseman way over where the shortstop would play. And you think, well, Mauer, I mean, he's got the great opposite field swing. They found in their hitting charts that to that point in the season, the middle of May, Mauer had not hit 1 ground ball to the third baseman. So their attitude was, if he's not going to hit it there, why should we have a guy standing there?
Right.
So I think John Farrell is going to be very creative with his infield defense this year.
I would agree with you. You know, when he was here as a pitching coach, obviously we didn't have any idea about his managerial style. But I was surprised when we went up to Toronto for the first time and watched him. He was very aggressive offensively, a lot of hit and running. Very aggressive first to third, would squeeze, would do different things. You mentioned the shift. The shift was a big part. A lot of time he'll take his third baseman, who was Brett Lowry, and put him over way out in right field.
Right.
He'd do that for a shift, too. So we've seen quite a bit of it here in spring training already.
Full count to Boggs. You saw Benson on deck, and the pitch tapped to the right side, and an easy play for Pedroia. 1 away. And that'll bring up Benson, and we mentioned in passing Benson's 4 strikeouts yesterday. He also lost a ball in the sun. This on a day when his competitor to win the center field job hit 3 home runs and drove in 6 up in Clearwater. So it was not a good day for Joe Benson.
I bet he didn't sleep well last night.
And in that sense, good for Ron Gardenhire to put him back in the lineup today and try to have an impact in this game. And a strike on the outside corner.
Yeah, and I got to see some of the game yesterday when I got into town. And Benson, you know, his big issue is pulling off the ball and coming off. See him in batting practice. He's got tremendous power, tremendous athlete. But he really can hook the ball a lot. But the one thing that you can see about him is he's a great athlete. He's got a great arm, and he can go get him in the outfield. And that's the one thing the Twins like, is his aggressiveness as a player. He's just got to figure out to stay to the middle of the diamond as a hitter. And if he can figure that out, then he's going to be a guy that's going to make an impact in the major leagues. But until then, he's going to get pitched around and pitched tough, and he's going to have some trouble because he has some holes in his swing.
Well, you look at all the good hitters in baseball, National League, American League, wherever you look, they all use the whole field. And, you know, he just can't become strictly a one-dimensional hitter and be a successful hitter, average-wise anyway.
This one driven to right field. Sweeney toward the corner, makes the catch for out number 2. Well, you guys talked about using the whole field. Twins had a third baseman, and he was with the Red Sox briefly last year. That was one of the great frustrations for Danny Valencia, and one of the reasons the Red Sox didn't keep him around.
Exactly right. He had problems offensively, and you know, he's a good player, but just never really could get it going offensively. And obviously, the Red Sox had to make a move in a different direction.
I would imagine Dempster trying to talk his way into the game. He's handed the ball off, though, to John Farrell. And so Dempster has reached his pitch limit. Gets a couple of outs here in the 4th inning. And we'll take a break at Fenway South with the Twins leading 2-0. except for a flurry of hits in the third inning. A good outing for Ryan Dempster. Clay Buchholz had a good outing yesterday against the Twins. 2 gone in the fourth. And Alex Wilson comes in to face Jeff Clement. First pitch outside, ball 1.
See the numbers last season at AAA. Pawtucket, 72 2/3 innings, 78 strikeouts, and 33 walks. He's had a very good spring for the Red Sox. He's already making his 6th appearance of the spring for Boston. One of those was in a college game against Northeastern.
Had a inning against the Puerto Rican team that took on the Red Sox here at JetBlue Park. 1-1 to Clement. Down and away, 2-1. Terry, the Boston bullpen from a distance sure looks like it's going to be one of the strengths of this team.
I agree with you. I think coming into spring training, that's one thing that's probably the deepest of anything on this Red Sox ball club is the bullpen. And they are very strong if they can get Daniel Bard to return to form the way he has. Andrew Miller, as you're looking at right now, has pitched very well. Very tough on left-handers. They're very deep out there.
3-1 to Clement. Florimone on deck. This one driven to the gap in left center field. That will get all the way to the warning track and to the wall. Clement, who lined out to Ellsbury in his first at bat, hits the grass in the outfield here for a double. Another 2-out hit for the Twins.
This fastball down, kind of middle of the plate, but down, and Clement stays right with two-seam fastball and just does exactly what we were talking about when Benson was up. You want to stay to the middle of the field, that ball down, and he just shoots the gap with a very nice swing and 2-out double.
Twins got one of those in the third inning and then backed it up with 3 straight singles. We'll see what Florimone can get done here. And the first pitch rolled to the right side, and Pedroia scoops it up, ends the inning. We played 3.5 here at Fenway South. The Twins have a 2-0 lead over Boston.
Welcome back to JetBlue Park as we head into the bottom of the fourth. Twins are up 2-0. Well, Minnesota fans know that David Ortiz played his first 6 seasons with the Twins before spending the next 10 in a Red Sox uniform. Big Papi told me he cherishes his time in Minnesota, where he hit 58 home runs, because it taught him how to work 110%, and that trait gave him his opportunity in Boston. Twins general manager Terry Ryan also said he still considers David Ortiz a great friend, called him a good man, and with numbers like 1,088 RBIs knocked in while playing for the Sox, Terry Ryan was also spot on when he said, man, that guy can hit. And Ron Coomer, I'm sure you also know firsthand how well Big Papi is at the plate.
Yeah, we got to see him hit some long home runs in the Metrodome in that upper deck. And Big Papi, one of the big, not only a big hitter, but a big personality and a great guy for the Boston Red Sox for years now.
Daniel Nava, the batter, facing a new Twins pitcher, Brian Dunsing, who delivers up high, ball 1.
Brian Dunsing in, you see the stats from last year, 55 games. You know, record not really indicative of how he pitched. You know, did some different things for the Minnesota Twins. Brian, a controlled pitcher, fastball, slider, change. You're going to see him work away a lot to the right-handed hitters, and that's been his issue, is trying to get right-handed hitters out. He likes to fade that ball from the right-handers.
1-1 to Nava. And a pitch up high. And it's, I think, encouraging for Rick Anderson, the pitching coach, to see Dunsing pitch from the windup. As a swingman, sometimes starter, sometimes reliever, he'd gotten into a kind of a habit of pitching from the stretch full time. Here's a chopper on one hop to Plouffe, who sets and fires across one away. And Dunsing said he just, toward the end of last year, did not feel comfortable from the full windup, even with the bases empty. And in his first outing this spring with bases empty, he was still pitching from the stretch, but now from the full windup. There's Rick Anderson, the pitching coach, next to Ron Gardenhire. One down here in the fourth.
Well, and he just said he felt out of whack. And, you know, the windup, he couldn't get to the balance point, and his arm, you know, he didn't have a consistent release point. And in the stretch, he did. But, you know, this is a time to work on that. That's why you're in spring training. Brian Dunsing's going to be on this roster. He's an integral part of either that sixth starter, possibly fifth, sixth starter, but definitely a bullpen guy. And, you know, you want him to be able to pitch from the windup.
Hicks disappears towards the triangle, makes the catch, 2 down. Hey, last inning, you guys were talking about right-handed hitters peppering that green monster. We need to wish our happy birthday wishes to Jim Rice, 60 years old today. And
yes, Big Jim's turning 60 years old today. And Jim, of course, Red Sox Hall of Famer, a pure Hall of Famer, finally getting in his final year on the ballot. It was a shame he didn't get in before that. And he patrolled left field and learned how to play that left field wall very, very well.
And there's strike one to Ryan LaVarnway. They still speak of Jim in hushed tones around Minnesota golf courses. All the par fours that he drove. There's a bouncer left side, another chance for Plouffe. And an on-target throw, and a good 1-2-3 inning for Brian Dunsing. Don Orsillo will be back with innings 5 and 6 with the Twins in front 2-0.
Spring training baseball from Fort Myers, Florida, JetBlue Park at Fenway South. The Red Sox and Twins play into inning number 5 with Minnesota on top 2-0 in this game. Don Orsillo along with Ron Coomer and Jerry Remy as we go to Minnesota and to New England tonight. And so far in this game, we've seen Ryan Dempster have 1 bad inning. He leads the game. And on the other side, Mike Pelfrey, pretty impressive for the Twins tonight.
Well, it has been. Pelfrey threw the ball pretty well. He, once he got through the first inning, kind of jitters. He hadn't pitched in quite a while. We've talked about it since May. But then, as Jerry said, he started establishing that fastball in. And like all veteran pitchers, he started throwing more strikes and getting a little tempo to him, and things started working out.
And Dempster was not all that bad. I mean, he did give up a couple of runs, but a lot of seeing eye singles going in there. So I think he'd have to be very happy with his performance tonight.
So top half of the 5th inning, and showing bunt pulling it back is Aaron Hicks. He is 1 for 2 in the game, a double in the 3rd inning, scored the Twins' first run, and Minnesota gathering both runs, coming with 2 outs against Dempster in the 3rd inning. As Jerry mentioned, both seeing eye singles, and Twins enjoy a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, really, for Dempster, the only hard hit ball was off the bat. I guess Doma hit the line drive down the line for a single. That got a good carom for the Red Sox and held him to a single. But really, two hard hit balls, Hicks and Doma.
In the air to center field, Jacoby Ellsbury, a step or two to his right for the first out here in the 5th inning.
You know, we were talking last inning, Don, about David Ortiz and showing clips of him in a Minnesota uniform and, of course, a Red Sox uniform. And the news on Ortiz is kind of strange. I mean, it's work hard one day, he's take a day off, and then he's been too sore to work another day. And as time goes on, we really don't know what to expect right now, whether he's going to be ready for the start of the season.
And yesterday he said if it was going to feel like this, he couldn't play with us. And that's certainly not a good thing at this stage. And right now today, he was taking swings in the cage, but not to the point where he's going to try and run again. So that's certainly not a good sign right now.
Yeah, I guess another workout day for him yesterday, tomorrow I should say, and see how he reacts to that. But they still feel that if it comes along quick enough, they can get him enough at bats between minor league games and big league games for the start of the season. But it's not cooperating right now.
And what's enough? I mean, what's enough at bats? 30, 50 ABs before now on opening day, Ron?
I think it's different for everybody, but you know, if you get 25, 30 at bats, and you know, I watched him take BP today on the field, and he looked good swinging. So if he can get in the last week or so of spring training and get 4 or 5 quality days in, and maybe go down and get some at bats in a minor league game, and then come up and see some big league pitching, you know, a guy with David's talent and abilities, you know, he'll get ready in a hurry.
1-2 pitch catches the attention of Brian Dozier, up and in.
Well, it sure did. That fastball just taking off by Wilson right there, going up and in. And Dozier's well off that play, too. Late reaction as he gets the head back and jerked out of the way. Helmet coming off.
Alex Wilson coming in the 4th inning to get the final out. Ryan Dempster tonight went 3 2/3, giving up 2 runs. He's able to get Florimone to finish the 4th as the first out of the 5th inning. Now a 3-2 pitch to Dozier. And that's ball 4. Didn't miss by much. Dozier down to first base with the first free pass served up by Red Sox pitching in the game.
Yeah, very close, but no, that's the pitch previous to that. Breaking ball that LAVARNWAY did a nice job blocking.
Spring training.
I was going to say, I thought it was closer than that.
What are you looking at, guy?
1 out, 1 on. Josh Willingham takes strike 1. Willingham 1 for 2 in the game. He singled his last time up.
But that's a quality at bat for Dozier. He gets busted in hard and then is able to take that pitch. Now, whether he could have covered that pitch on the outside corner after the high and tight one, we don't know that. But, you know, he's had a base hit to drive in a run. He's made a play defensively and now a walk. That's a guy that Ron Gardenhire is looking very closely at to be the starting second baseman. The one thing Gardy has is he's got a fallback plan and a quality veteran player in Jamie Carroll, who had a very good year for the Twins. But, you know, the Twins really are looking to have these 2 young guys play short and second base.
1 out, 1 on. Willingham 1 for 2 in the game, operating out of the DH spot tonight for the Twins. Let me ask you about Ron Gardenhire, who has been widely considered one of the best managers in the game. Is there more pressure on him coming into this season than maybe years past?
I would say yes, and I think some of that's probably self-imposed. Ron, since he's taken over the team, has had a lot of success from day one, making the playoffs, you know, 6 or 7 times. In the last couple years, you know, it's been a struggle as Willingham takes strike 3, but it's been a struggle. And 2 years ago, you miss your 2 MVPs as we see strike 3, outside corner fastball, just a good pitch. But you miss Maurer and Morneau 2 years ago, and there's not much you can do about that when you miss your top 2 players. Last year by All-Star break, you didn't have one guy that started the season in your rotation on the ball club. So when you look at what you had to deal with for Ron Gardenhire, you expect you're going to lose 90 games. And, you know, he hasn't had to do that. And hopefully this season for the Minnesota Twins, the guys will stay healthy that they need to, and their rotation will stay intact. And then, as we've talked about, the Twins' way will show itself on the ball field.
Jerry was talking about that a few innings ago. Boy, it has been impressive over the years how it's been handed down. And the way the Minnesota Twins are used to playing baseball.
It's always was a challenge playing against the Minnesota Twins. You knew that you were going to get maximum effort all the time from them. They were going to do fundamentally all things right. It's just built into the organization, and it's been that way as long as I can remember. And even in your losing ball clubs the last couple of years, you still see the same hustle, the same execution, the same at least attempt to execute the right way. And it's been that way for the Twins for as long back as I can remember playing against them.
Guys, one theme since I became a Twin in '95 is you play all nine innings, and that's the way Tom Kelly expected it. Tom Kelly managed a lot of the guys that won those World Series teams in '87, '91 in the minor leagues. He was a working manager. You'd see him throw batting practice, hitting fungos, teaching, and he worked hard every day. He expected his players to. And the other thing we had in Minnesota when I became a Twin is our superstar player, obviously Kirby Puckett. Puck was one of those guys, and when your superstar player runs every ball out, dives for every ball, gives you quality at bats time and time again, breaks up a double play, the rest of the guys kind of fall in, and I think the managers set the tone. The guys like Puckett and Herbeck and Gaetti, they played that way. And then when guys like Ron Coomers of the world come along, you follow in stride with that, and it's been tradition for the Minnesota Twins.
Pedroia on to first base to retire Ryan Dolman, and to end the Twins top of the 5th. We're halfway through this one. Minnesota on top 2-0. Two 2-0 Minnesota on top as we get ready for the bottom of the 5th inning. Josh Willingham joins us.
And Josh, Ron Coomer, spring training once again. Great year last year, but you come into spring training, you got some new faces around the clubhouse this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what spring training's for, is getting to know your teammates, getting to know what they like to do, how they like to play the game. You know, we got a lot of pitchers in here, so we're seeing if we can get some help on the mound. And but yeah, it's good to see everybody. Good to get going again.
Get off to a good start. How you feeling? Swinging the bat, timing, and everything so far. Swing looks well. Looks good.
Yeah, I feel good. I think that's the most important thing, especially at this point in the spring, is you're not really that results oriented. You want to feel good when you swing, and you want everything to feel like it's supposed to, because we hadn't done it in a while. But yeah, I think that's the most important thing, is to feel good, and I do feel good, so I'm happy.
Got a new hitting coach in Tom Bernansky. Bruno, a guy that a lot of us old Twins know, and Bruno, good personality, but you know, you had a different hitting coach, Joe Vavra, but Bruno being there, you know, what has he brought to the table for you guys, especially you veteran hitters?
A lot of energy. You know, Bruno's an energetic guy, great attitude, great work ethic. You know, Joe is an awesome hitting coach, and I think he'll do a great job at third base this year too. But you know, the main thing I see from Bruno is he wants to work, he wants to get in there, he wants to know what you're thinking, he wants to put some thoughts in your head, and you know, just kind of see where you're at. But just the positive energy, the vibe is the vibe I'm getting from him right now, which is great.
Well, thanks, Josh, for being with us. We appreciate it.
Well, that was easy enough.
Yeah, see, it's not difficult. It's spring training, buddy.
All right, thanks, Coon.
Yep.
Thanks to Josh Willingham for joining us as striking out to begin the inning. Lyle Overbay for the first out of the fifth inning, and Brian Dunsing right now looking very good.
Yeah, nice job, Ron, handling that interview all by yourself. That was good.
Solid. We just stepped out of the way and let you do your thing.
Tough job, but someone's got to do it, you know. Talk to a hitter. Hey, how you swinging? How things going? Everything good? How's your hitting coach? We're all done.
We will be hearing from Jacoby Ellsbury as well, as this one is chopped to short. And on the throw in time to get Iglesias. Nicely done by Florimone. There are two outs here in the fifth inning. Got rid of it in a hurry on a soft bounding ball.
You're looking at two similar kind of shortstops in this game right now, as certainly Iglesias and Florimone, both very slick fielding shortstops with strong throwing arms.
Yeah, you just saw that play by Florimone. If you don't have a strong arm, you have to attack that ball and take it on the short hop. And as we see, both young guys very confident in their backhand, laying back, catching that ball and planting that back foot and making a good strong throw.
Two down here in the fifth inning as Jacoby Ellsbury stands in and takes strike one. Hearing from Jacoby Ellsbury tonight and Jose Iglesias, as Ellsbury gets his third at bat of the night, singled in the first inning and struck out looking in the third. 1 for 2. Outfield setup straight away here on Ellsbury. Dunsing into his second inning of relief. He's retired all 5 Red Sox that he's faced and brings that fastball inside to Ellsbury.
There's a guy, Ron, that the Red Sox have to really try to keep healthy this year, Jacoby Ellsbury, because he's been banged up a couple of times last year, and it's certainly not the same team without him leading off.
Big strike call there from Marvin Hudson, but it's only strike 2. He was trying to ring him up.
Didn't we just say it's spring training for everybody? Here we go.
Everybody.
What's wrong with a 2-strike league? I don't mind that.
Ground ball by the mound. Escobar just into the game on the backhand. Throws out Ellsbury at first base, and it is a 1-2-3 fifth for Dunsing. He's retired all 6 Red Sox he's faced. The Twins have a 2-0 lead from JetBlue Park.
Welcome back to JetBlue Park. The Minnesota Twins are up 2-0, and we have Minnesota Twins center fielder Aaron Hicks. And Aaron, it's been a pretty good week for you.
Yeah, you know, I've just been trying to see the ball well and hit it.
Well, I guess keeping it simple is the way it is. But in the last 3 games, you've hit 5 home runs, and you know, you come into camp and, you know, the center field job is open for you and Benson and Mastriani. But as of late, obviously, you're swinging the bat very well, and I know the staff is very happy with the way you've been playing center field.
Yeah, you know, it's I love this competition we got going on. You know, we got 2 great center fielders that I'm battling with, and I've been doing well so far. So, I mean, so far I just wanted to impress, and I feel I've done that so far.
Well, what was the big thing, you know, last year you were in the minor leagues in AA, and it seemed like from talking to Paul Molitor and some of the people that would travel through the minor leagues, they felt like you took a big step. And was there something that happened in AA that all of a sudden kind of, you know, propelled you in being consistent at the plate, and obviously you can go get them in center field?
Yeah, you know, it's all about being consistent in this game. For me, you know, it's I've been struggling with my left-handed side, and I really worked hard in the offseason, the year before last year, on staying on top of the ball, really hitting line drives, and you know, getting good pitches to hit and not chasing out of the zone.
Well, Aaron, congratulations on a great start in spring training this year. Thanks again for being with us.
All right, thank you.
And we thank Ron Coomer, who has been tremendous as our interviewer.
I'll tie his word for you, Ron, after the first answer.
Thank God Jamie's here.
Let's go down the line deep. Middlebrooks with a long throw and a one-hopper, several hops to first base. Not going to be in time. But it's time now to get a little Red Sox conversation going. Jamie Erdahl standing by with Jacoby Ellsbury. Jamie?
Yep, Jacoby just out of the game after playing center. You're the anchor in the outfield. You're getting used to 2 new guys on either side of you, Johnny Gomes and Shane Victorino. What has that been like for you, getting to know those guys?
Oh, they're great. I've known those guys for a while, but their work ethic, the way they play the game, they make it easy on me. So it's been an easy transition.
You've got a pretty talented prospect coming up behind you, Jackie Bradley Jr. Again, what has it been like mentoring him? What do you see in him that you like as an outfielder?
You know, he definitely has a bright future. Haven't had the opportunity to play with him yet, but you know, I'm sure I will before this spring training's over. But yeah, I mean, you like how he goes about his business, prepares, and he'll have a great career.
Would you say you have similar qualities?
Yeah, I mean, he studies the game, works hard, and that's what you like to see in a young player. Just, you know, taking it all in, first big league camp, and just working to improve.
I'm sure he says all the same things about you. Thanks, Jacoby.
All right, appreciate it.
Well, 2-0. The Twins on top here as Trevor Plouffe leads off with an infield hit for Minnesota. Jacoby Ellsbury is checked out of the game. Hope to hear from Jose Iglesias when he is out of the game as well tonight. Red Sox infield a double play depth as a fly ball skied to left has Johnny Gomes coming in. And he'll make the catch on Brandon Boggs for the first out here at the top of the 6th inning. Anthony Carter is the new Red Sox pitcher. 3rd arm of the night used by John Farrell. We saw Ryan Dempster for 3 2/3 innings. Then Alex Wilson for an inning and a third. Dempster charged with 2 runs on 5 hits. Wilson a hit, no runs. And Anthony Carter now in the game for Boston.
Carter signed as a minor league free agent by the Red Sox. Was spent last year in Charlotte. 39 games, 1 start. Still seems strange to see Daniel Nava over there at first base, but he's made an adjustment pretty well. He really has.
And certainly, Jerry, very important for him to add to his versatility. If he could put first base on his resume as well, that may give him a chance to stay.
That gives him an option at first base and in the outfield for the Red Sox as a backup guy.
Runner takes off. The pitch is a strike, and the throw is a great one. And the tag is in plenty of time to get Plouffe. As Christian Vasquez, who had just checked into the game, throws out Plouffe.
I'm going to tell you something, Don and Ron. We've seen Vasquez about 3 or 4 times now, and he has done nothing but impress me. I mean, how about this throw? They're just waiting.
I was about to say Plouffe's got a good jump until I saw the catcher's throw, and he blew him up in second base by 2 steps.
In the air to right field off the bat of Benson, and back goes Sweeney. He's got plenty of room to make the catch that ends the inning. We're through 5.5 from JetBlue Park at Fenway South. Twins still on top, 2-0. Back at JetBlue Park, good to see Tom Bernansky, of course, Red Sox former outfielder, and now the new hitting coach for the Minnesota Twins, and certainly some ties to the Red Sox. His great catch back in 1990, and also for the Boston Red Sox, their new hitting coach Greg Colbrin, also ties with the Twins, playing there in the 90s as well, and Greg now on the Red Sox coaching staff under John Farrell. So some Minnesota-Boston ties here tonight as we share tonight's telecast with our friends from Minnesota. And we play along to the bottom of the 6th inning. Josh Renicky comes into the game for the Minnesota Twins after 2 very good innings for Brian Dunsing, who retired all 6 Red Sox that he faced in the game. Renicky last year in Colorado, 63 games, 4-2, 3.25 earned run average. And where does he fit in on this Twins squad?
Well, I think you're looking at, a bunch of guys that Terry Ryan has brought in, and he's a guy that, is he going to fit with the bullpen situation? That is a spot that, there's only really a couple spots available. The bullpen was very strong for the Twins, especially when you talk from the 6th inning through the 9th. So he's going to have to be a guy, where Swarzak has been hurt, a guy that could possibly be that swing guy if you go to long relief. And Renick, guy that has thrown the ball well and they do like, and a hard thrower.
Renick, the third arm used tonight by Gardenhire. Mike Pelfrey, 3 shutout innings, 2 innings from Brian Dunsing. He had a strikeout as well, a total of 6 Ks for Twins pitching tonight. 1-1 is chopped to third base. Sadusky just into the game for Minnesota. Double pump and still gets it there just in time to get Dustin Pedroia at first base. Well, great sign for Red Sox Nation back in 1990. Ozzie Guillen's fly ball down the right field line, and Tom Bernansky went out of sight to make that catch down the right field line. Jeff Reardon certainly appreciated that, and great moment in Red Sox history.
A couple of ex-Twins there. Jeff Reardon on the mound and Tom Bernansky out in right field. Red Sox fans always remember that catch. The catch that a lot of people really didn't see because of the angle down in the corner.
He was back last year as part of the 100th anniversary at Fenway Park. A lot of the players came back. We had the chance to have him on as we're going to say hello to him before the game. So how much do you think the Twins hitting philosophy will change with him now there at all? Any different, you think, with the new hitting coach?
I don't think it'll change much. Joe Vavra, we all have a lot of respect for, who's now the Twins third base coach. The one thing Bruno will bring to the table, he was a big, strong right-handed hitter that could hit the ball out of the ballpark. and has been around the major leagues a long time. And I think, as Willingham talked about, the one thing about Bruno is he has a lot of energy. And I really like, some of the things in talking to him in January about, what he's looking at with Morneau and how, talking about using Morneau's backside because now his legs are actually underneath him and healthy because he had issues with his knee and his wrist. Tom is one of those guys that he's going to have a lot of fun, but he's been there, done that, and he's done it really well in the big leagues. And, I think between Tom Bernansky and Terry Steinbach, those are two great additions to the Minnesota Twins staff.
Full count to Ryan Sweeney. Bats with one out here in the bottom of the 6th inning. There's strike 3. Sweeney knew it. Takes with him the first strikeout for Renicky. 2 down here in the 6th inning.
Good fastball by Renicky right on the outside corner. You see this two-seamer. That's a perfect pitcher's pitch.
Exactly where they wanted it, too. Fryer, the new catcher, setting up down and away, and that's exactly where he received that fastball. Just about an unhittable pitch. If you swing at it and make contact, you probably foul it off.
And 2 down here in the 6th inning. Johnny Gomes, 0 for 2 in the game, reached on a fielder's choice in the 1st inning, popped out to second base in the 3rd. There's strike 1 to Gomes.
Now, Jerry, we talked about this last time Gomes was up, and I made the statement, with his style, fastball hitter, stands way up in the batter's box because he wants the fastball or get the ball early before it breaks. You made a comment that there's been a lot of right-handed hitters that have come to Fenway Park that you've talked about, and that wall been not very friendly for him, but you'd think style-wise it should fit him really well.
Exactly. What happens with a lot of right-handed hitters that come there, especially with power, is they get home run crazy. And, anybody that gets home run crazy is not going to have that kind of success. The left side starts to open up a little bit. The swing gets a little bit longer. And you see a lot of fly balls shoot out toward right field instead of going out to that left field area. And the park can be intimidating, and it can, as you said, the first time you saw it, you could feel like you reach out and touch the wall. But the fact is, it's so shallow out there that some of these guys come out of their swing, and it takes them a while to get it back into it. I've always felt that Fenway Park was a better place to hit for left-handed hitters than right-handed hitters, especially if you had enough power to put the ball off the wall.
Johnny Gomes going the other way to right field, has a 2-out base hit, and helps the Red Sox collect their 3rd hit of the night.
To your point, there's been a few left-handed hitters in Fenway Park that have done pretty good.
Yeah, they've done pretty good. Yeah,
just a couple.
Really have. But I think the reason for that is because they're able to keep their shoulder on the baseball and drive the ball the other way and know they can plant that ball off the left field wall. Boggs was great at it. Yastrzemski could do it. Ted Williams was a dead pull hitter, of course, but there have been a number of left-handers in that ballpark that were able to. Freddie Lynn just used that left field wall anytime they wanted to.
David Ortiz now uses that wall. He'll pull the ball, but
that's right.
When he gets into a slump, you see him hit the ball the other way often.
And Daniel Nava batting with 2 down and Gomes at first base. How did you enjoy hitting at Fenway Park?
I loved playing at Fenway Park. I loved hitting there. It was one of those things. I grew up going to Wrigley Field as a kid in Chicago, and I loved playing in the old parks, the places where I grew up watching the Jerry Remys, and you're a big baseball fan, and you'd go out and you'd watch these games of the week, and you'd watch traditional baseball. And when I got to go home and play in Wrigley, or I got to go to Fenway and play, or old Yankee Stadium, I'd call home and you'd talk to your buddies or talk to Dad about, I got to play in Fenway Park, and it was one of those places I loved hitting there. And I think it was more because of the fan of being a 12-year-old kid than it was actually putting a big league uniform on.
Nava takes a pitch down and in. It's 2-1.
A nice scoop there by Fryer. That keeps a man out of scoring position. Sliding to his right, able to catch the ball. Close ball game, 2-0 ball game. Keep that man at first base instead of allowing him to go to second. Good job.
Called strike as Nava thought it was up and away, but strike call, and it's 2-2. Home plate umpire tonight, Marvin Hudson. We'll get another look at the pitch.
Yeah, I originally thought the ball might have been high too, but on second look, it's at the top of the strike zone.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Better be swinging, boys.
So Renicky now with a 2-2 count, 2 outs and a runner at first. Nava fights it off. Late swing back into the seats behind the Red Sox dugout. Josh Renicky, time in the big leagues with the Cincinnati Reds, Toronto Blue Jays, and parts of the last 2 years in Colorado with the Rockies. Last year making an opening day roster for the first time in his career, and spent the entire year in Colorado. 4-2 with a 3.25 earned run average. Pitch is high for ball 3.
And with Renicky, you've just seen some fastballs that he's just tried to overthrow. He pulled the one down in the dirt. That we saw a nice block by Fry, and then that one just overthrown. That was way up in the zone.
Josh Renicky's dad, Gary, and his uncle, Ron, both played in the major leagues. And, of course, Ron, the manager of the Milwaukee Brewers currently. Ball 4 to Nava. He'll head on down to first base. Renicky with a 2-out walk, and the Red Sox have runners at first and second now, 2 away. Will Middlebrooks coming up. We'll have a pinch runner at first base for the Red Sox.
Looks like Mark Hamilton.
So Hamilton will run for Nava, whose night is over. Nava has gone 0 for 2 with a walk. Middlebrooks 0 for 2. He's flat out deeply to right and deeply to center both times at the warning track, but nothing to show for it. An 0 for 2 night for the Red Sox third baseman. There's strike 1. Middlebrooks was ailing a bit of the stomach flu yesterday. Intestinal turmoil. But he's okay today.
Intestinal turmoil.
Yeah, 24 hours worth.
And he didn't like the lane changer.
Well, I stole the intestinal turmoil from Terry Francona, so you can now steal it from me if you like.
I would have liked to have heard Tito say intestinal
turmoil. Intestinal turmoil. I have intestinal turmoil.
I only
say it like 9 times a day.
Because he was my AA manager, so I heard a lot of Titoisms. It was phenomenal, yeah.
He had a lot of intestinal turmoil, especially the last year. But I'm sure he'll have it again now as the manager of the Cleveland Indians for a little while. But we'll be happy to see Tito this year. And we saw too much of Tito, actually.
We saw a lot of Tito last year, yeah.
ESPN Sunday night, they were in all the time. And we'll be seeing him again. We go there in April, I think.
He's constantly sending us texts during games telling us how bad we are.
Terrible. Yeah.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah. Now all of a sudden he's a TV expert. Yeah. Swing and a miss. Middlebrooks strikes out. I'm done. Yeah, I'm it. That's it for me. 5-6. I'll see you guys later.
Are you done? Nice talking to you.
I'll see you later. Tim Bramer will be here when we come back. 2-0 Twins.
It was a beautiful day in Fort Myers, and it's a gorgeous night as well. This gorgeous ballpark. Second year of Fenway South. 2-0. The Twins bunched together 4 2-out hits in the third inning to score a couple of runs, and that's been the extent of the scoring. Anthony Carter back on the mound for the Red Sox. Wholesale defensive changes with Mike Cart now in left, Jeremy Hazelbaker in right, Mark Hamilton at first, Brock Holt at third, Pedro Siriaco at second, and Jeff Clement took the ball hard twice in the ball game tonight. His third plate appearance, facing Carter, and a fastball low. Twins are in a kind of a rotation system at first base, with Justin Warno off with the Canadian team in the World Baseball Classic. One of the candidates to be a backup, Chris Colabello. Ron Gardenhire talked about how he had a big day today and for the Italian team in their win. And so the Twins running a bunch of people over there, and a lot of former or catchers getting some time over at first base just out of necessity. The Twins having a tough time putting a regular first baseman there. Clement, a former catcher, getting a chance tonight.
And I know this is tough on the managers to do this World Baseball Classic, but how do you guys like this World Baseball Classic? I think it's in a very strange time of year for baseball players, especially major league players and veterans. To me, I still wish we could find a different time of the year to play this.
I agree with you. You know, we've been talking about this all spring, and I'm with you on that. I don't know where you could possibly fit it in the season so long, but at this time of the year, it's very difficult because, first of all, players aren't ready. I mean, let's face it, pitchers aren't ready, and you know, they're asked to do more in that classic, which means so much to them playing for their country than they would, you know, playing for their own team. And I don't know. It's just I have a hard time warming up to it at this time of year.
Well, let me ask you guys this question. Who do you think are the top 4 starting pitchers in the ball game in the major leagues right now? Might they include Justin Verlander,
right,
CC Sabathia, David Price, Jared Weaver? They'd be in anybody's top 10 list. And they're all U.S. born. They would play for the United States team, but none of them are.
Right. You're not getting the best players.
Right. And Clement with a drive to center field, and Ellsbury back to make the catch. And that's the first out of the 7th inning. So with those 4 starters not part of the rotation for Team USA, it's kind of hard, I think, for anybody in this country to really get fired up for it. Now in Japan, they played their first game last night, and they said that 1/3 of the televisions in Japan were tuned in. It's a big deal there, but not so much here, I don't think.
I would agree with you. I just don't think you're getting the best players to go. Teams really don't want their best players to go. And, you know, we've got a number of guys on the Red Sox, as you do on the Twins, that probably could be on that ball club and just choose not to be.
Dick, to your point, you have a quality #1 starter, one of the tops in baseball, and you're going to have him go play before he's really ready and his arm is in shape. Justin Verlander for Detroit, for instance, or any one of those guys you mentioned. What's going to happen if one of those guys gets hurt?
Right.
We had Daisuke Matsuzaka here a couple of years ago that pitched for Japan in that series, and he was never the same after coming back to us.
Right. Florimo, the batter, he's got a 1-1 count. And this one lifted foul and out of play. And for Red Sox fans, Xander Bogaerts, the third baseman on the Netherlands team, and they beat Cuba last night 6-2. They'll be taking on Japan in the a winner's bracket of that division. And the Netherlands team that 3 years ago beat the Dominican team twice. And I got to give my regular partner on television a plug. Pitching coach on that team is Bert Blyleven.
Right.
So the Netherlands team making some noise again this year. Clete Thomas on deck. One gone here in the top of the 7th inning. Bouncer to short. And Iglesias flips over to Hamilton, and now at first base, 2 down.
Now let me ask you this. How's it changed working with a Hall of Famer?
Sure.
Well, other than calling him Mr. Blylevin, you know.
I've seen Dick carrying his bags, too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. What's the old line? I wash his car once a week until my tongue gets dry, you know. 2 down in the 7th. Here's Thomas. Aaron Hicks made the start and went 1 for 3, a double that started the 2-run rally. And then a couple of outfield flies out of the ball game now. And Thomas trying to win a reserve spot. He was with the club, Major League club, for a while last year. Found himself sent to Rochester. 1-0. And foul back 1-1. Thomas, formerly of the Detroit Tigers, very strikeout prone. And Ron, I know you've talked in the past about Joe Benson and how he needs to find a way to make more consistent contact. That's been a problem throughout Clete Thomas's career.
Well, it has, Dick. And this pitch right here, that fastball in, is the one he can handle. It's the ball that's away that he has trouble with. Last year when he got to Minnesota, right away he had some success, hit some home runs. First week of the season, as you see this fastball, and this is a pitch he handles well. Drops the head of the bat on, and he's really likes to hook the baseball. And as the league starts catching up with that swing, they started fading some balls away and changing some speeds on him, and he struggled to make contact, as you say, Dick.
Just watching him watch that front shoulder pull out the way it does, I can see why it can handle the inside fastball. I'll bet pitches on the outside part of the plate, he gets a lot of ground balls to second base.
Absolutely.
Here's Eduardo Escobar, the Twins' second baseman, and he takes a fastball for a strike. Escobar coming to the Twins last year in the Francisco Liriano trade. And Escobar hoping to win a job as a utility infielder. Liriano now signing a deal with the Pittsburgh Pirates. And a called strike, 0-2. Escobar in Brian Dozier's spot. Dozier had gone 1 for 2 with a walk, with a run scored and a run batted in. And Thomas takes off. Escobar lifts it down the left field line. And Thomas stopped at second base. Catch made by Karp. And the top of the 7th is in the books. Twins still lead it 2-0. Take a look at the game summary. Both starters had their moments. Mike Pelfrey ran into some trouble and got out of it. Brian Dempster only got into some trouble in 1 inning, and he couldn't get out of it. He gave up 4 straight 2-out hits, gave up a couple of runs. But Jerry and Ron, I would think for each starting pitcher kind of a step forward. You can see Brian Doman just hitting a ground ball through the hole for the second run.
Yeah, I think that, you know, both starting pitchers were very good in this ball game tonight. I think Dempsey got a couple of pitches up in the zone. The ball's not hit that hard off him, and he continues to have that good spring for the Red Sox.
Yeah, and I thought Pelfrey threw the ball very well. The first inning, he was a little erratic early in the ball game. You know, hasn't pitched much since May, and came in, and after the first inning, he started attacking the strike zone on the inner part of the plate and had a good ball game.
Vasquez is out at first. A great play by the new shortstop for the Twins. Going to his left and behind the second base bag, popping up.
Well, that's a terrific play just to be able to get up and make a throw.
James Beresford, who just returned from the WBC, was on the Australian team, eliminated in the preliminary round. Just back into town, he makes a fine play behind the second base bag.
He covered an awful lot of ground on that going up the middle, able to go into a slide, pop up, and get that throw to first base on one bounce. Very impressive.
Beresford with a fine play, one away. And here's Lyle Overbay. Ball one, now ball two.
And Dick, I got to give you a lot of credit there because I had no idea who that shortstop was.
Number 85, pulling guard coming across.
Well, Beresford last year was at Double-A New Britain. Non-roster invitee. 2-0 the count to Overbay, the designated hitter for the Red Sox tonight. And now another one low, 3-0.
You know, for fans coming to ball games and you start getting a lot of minor league players playing and getting substituted into the ball game, this is big for both managers. This is a great way for them to see, you know, catchers blocking balls we saw last inning, the shortstop going up the middle and keeping his composure, making a great catch, and then being able to make a throw. These are all things that will stay in the manager's in the back of his mind as the season progresses. He'll be asking about these guys and what are they doing now? Are they ready to take the next step to AAA or to the big leagues? And you know, for fans, sometimes you start talking about these minor league guys, but that's a guy that could make an impact come July, August, just by what he does in 3 or 4 looks in a big league game here in spring training.
And just to think also what the confidence it gives the player himself. You know, a guy that's not really expected to be on the ball club, but to come in and make plays like that just builds your confidence as a baseball player.
Gomez, the pinch runner for Overbay. He's at first with 1 out, 1 strike. To Iglesias. Chopped off the plate and up the line, foul. I can guarantee you in the Twins dugout, Ron Gardenhire has bookmarked that play. And if Beresford, maybe not later this year, but at some point down the road, they'll remember that play and they'll remember the player. You know, you step off the plane, you just get back after a lot of travel and make a play like that. That's a nice moment for the young man. 2 strikes. And he'll get another chance. Safe at first. Iglesias beat the relay. It should have been a double play ball, but it wasn't. And Escobar's throw not quite in time.
Escobar looked a little bit slow turning this ball over. It looked like it was going to be a sure double play. I don't know, from that position there, Ron, it might have been more beneficial for the shortstop to give him the sidearm flip instead of the underhand flip. It's almost like he gave him a changeup going into second base.
And what it does is then, as you know, as a second baseman, it kind of got him flat-footed.
Right.
And you're not able to keep your momentum going to turn that double play. Those are plays that Ron Gardenhire will talk to his young middle infield now that are playing and say, that's a ball we need to have turned, and that needs to be a double play in the big leagues.
Jonathan Diaz, the pinch runner, now at first with 2 away. Mitch Meyer is the new center fielder. We saw him make a catch leading off the top of the 8th inning. Meyer, one of those guys with the Kansas City Royals that never seemed to get enough playing time to determine whether he's a major league player or not. With the Royals, he typically would have about 20-25 at bats by Memorial Day, and yet the Royals carried him without giving him a chance to play much. 1-1. And a breaking ball missing. 2-1.
Well, the Royals, they've got some good young players, don't they, in that organization, on that ball club?
And James Shields to be that mentor for a otherwise young pitching staff. The big trade, sending Will Myers to the Rays. Myers having a great spring, really opening some eyes in Port Charlotte for the Rays. Fastball's up high, 3-1. Tampa Bay Rays with a lot of great young starting pitching. They felt they could afford, needed to afford, to get James Shields out of there, one of their more expensive players. 3-1. Here's a high fly to center field. Benson over to his right to end the inning. Red Sox get a base runner, leave him aboard. 7 complete. It's 2-0 Twins. Beautiful night for Myers. Way south, the Twins and Red Sox meeting for the 3rd time this year. The Red Sox have won the first 2 meetings. Chris Hernandez coming out of the Boston bullpen. Twins bunching 4 of those 8 hits together with 2 outs in the 3rd inning to score the only 2 runs of the game. Dick Bramer, Ron Coomer, Jerry Remy bringing you the game, and you can see the numbers put together last year by Chris Hernandez.
Yeah, split time between Portland and Pawtucket last year, mostly as a starting pitcher. 18 starts at Portland, 8 starts at Pawtucket. Combined 15 and 19 record minor league career totals. That goes back to 2010. All those years in the Red Sox system.
First man he'll face is Ray Olmedo in the DH spot for Josh Willingham. Willingham had gone 1 for 3. It'll be Olmedo, Fryer, and Sobolewski. And Olmedo trying to secure a spot as a middle infield candidate for the Twins. Ball 1. Brian Dempster started this game, went 3 2/3 innings, did give up 5 hits and a couple of runs, a dribbler up the line, and that will trickle foul and just miss the third base bag. 1-1 to Olmedo. Jerry, this Boston team, if Dempster can give them what he's given his other teams in his long major league career, if John Lackey continues to pitch well coming back from Tommy John surgery. I mean, this is a Boston team that if the starting pitching can be stable with that bullpen, it could be a nice bounce back year.
I would agree with you. You know, a lot of people talked about after last season 69 wins, and of course that was a terrible season for the Boston Red Sox from start to finish. And my feeling at the end of the year was there was not a lot of work to do with this club. You know, if you get the starting pitching that these guys are capable of doing, you know, you're going to be successful. And you're filling in pieces of the puzzle with some of the guys they picked up in the offseason. I think they can be a very competitive ball club, but they've got to get the good starting pitching. We talked earlier about the bullpen, which I think is going to be very strong. And they'll hit. You know, they'll score runs.
Right.
So it's, you know, it's not like they're going to be stuck at 69 wins, I think, for a very long time.
2-2 to Olmedo, and a ball sliced foul.
They basically played the last month and a half of the season with a AA, AAA ball club last year. It became that bad with between injuries and everything, and it had to go along with it. So,
and Ron, Twins fans will tell you that was the Twins situation for the last 4 months last year.
From All-Star break on, you look at the rotation, and you didn't have one guy that started the season with the team that was in the rotation. And 2/3 of it, you had the Rochester starting rotation at times. And, you know, because of that, you end up with what you get.
Yeah, you just can't compete that way. You just can't do it.
2-2 to Olmedo, having a prolonged at bat here against Chris Hernandez. And another pop-up foul and out of play. The Twins lost 96 ball games, and the simplest way to put it, at least the way I put it to people, they lost 96 ball games, and they lost half of those in the first 3 innings. That's how dreadful the starting pitching was. And I know you saw a lot of the same situation with the Red Sox last year.
Yes, we did.
2-2. Well, Clay Buchholz sure looked good yesterday. There's Olmedo finally swinging and missing, and the throw to first completing the strikeout, 1 down.
Good breaking ball by Hernandez. Good block again here by Vasquez behind the plate. He has to track it down and clear himself with a runner, making that throw to first base so he doesn't hit him in the back. Once again, a good block behind the plate by Vasquez. I've seen this over and over in every game we've done so far this spring.
I don't think I've ever seen a catcher get rid of the ball quicker than he did last inning when Plouffe tried to steal second.
That was a bullet.
Wow. Here's Eric Fryer. He's talking with Terry Steinbach, who's the new bench coach for the Twins, and of course a former all-star catcher, about breaking down a pitcher's time, but also a catcher's time. And they've been working on that with both Joe Mauer and Ryan Domit. And they said anything around 2 is acceptable. That looked like about 1-5 from the time Vasquez caught the ball to the time he delivered the throw to the middle infielder at second base. 2-0 to Fryer. Catcher in his own right.
Well, what you're looking at with a catcher being a 2.0, that's on a gun from the time the ball hits the catcher's glove to the time he gets it to his fielder at second base. And if a pitcher's 1-5, that's pretty slow to home plate.
Right.
You know, if a guy slide steps, he's usually 1-2, 1-3, 1-5. If you get a clock on a pitcher and he's 1-5, you're going to start sending your base stealers. But this Vasquez behind the plate, Plouffe actually got a good jump stealing second base, and he got blown up at second base by quite a bit.
2-2, and a chopper left side. Brock Holt fires across, and a one-hop throw off target, and Fryer will reach on an infield hit.
I think Fryer was going to beat that anyway down that first base line, regardless of what kind of throw Holt made. Big high bounce to third base, and Fryer hustling all the way down that line, and I believe he would have beat that anyway. See how they score it.
Fryer with 30 major league at-bats with the Pirates the last 2 years.
Yeah, that ground ball, once you sit back as a third baseman on that ball, the way it was chopped straight down, that second hop, you really don't have much of a chance unless you've got a very slow runner. That's a ball, you know, maybe in another 2 weeks, he knows he has to come and attack that ground ball and throw it on the run to try to make a play.
There's Mark Sobolewski. He is a minor league Rule 5 pick from the Minnesota Twins. Drafted out of the Toronto system.
Think they might try a little hit and run here. 1-0, 1 out. I guess not.
Not on that pitch. Tap foul, 1-1.
But it makes sense. You got two young guys out there playing, and Gardy wants to see what these guys, how they react when you start playing the game. And, you're in a close ball game, 2-0. There's a lot of things that a manager's looking for. This is one of them. Just see how a young guy reacts to getting a sign and trying to do something a little different than just swing.
So Valesky, a double-A player out of the Toronto system last year. Slow breaking ball, shaves the outside corner, and it's 1-2. Pretty good pop, 18 home runs for Sobolewski and 374 at bats.
A backdoor breaking ball that time, and again pulled in by the catcher Vasquez. Been a pretty generous strike zone, I think, tonight.
Especially after about the 4th or 5th inning, things have loosened up a little bit, and
that's chopped in front of the plate, and a flip to first for out number 2, and Fryer goes to second.
We were talking earlier in the ball game about the old Metrodome, and I played in there the first year that it was open, and it didn't have air conditioning that first year. And I'm going to tell you, man, it was brutal in that place. It got so hot and stuffy in there, it was like playing in St. Louis.
Their thought was that because it was underground, it would naturally be cool, and instead it was not.
No.
And we really felt bad for the Vikings because they had to play preseason football games there in August, and you literally could not breathe watching it. I can't imagine playing a football game in that stifling heat and humidity. Strike one to Brandon Boggs.
And then with that turf, so now it's so hot, that turf, the ball just would bounce like a Super Ball if you hit a fly ball and it landed on the turf.
Yeah, we used to call it the double dome.
Boggs 0 for 3, but he has not struck out tonight after striking out 4 times yesterday. And another slow breaking ball, this one off the plate.
I had the pleasure of playing in that terrible ballpark, too, out what is it, the Vet?
The Met?
Metropolitan Stadium?
Yes.
You didn't like the Met?
That's near and dear to Dick's heart here.
That's my Fenway Park right there.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah. I grew up being introduced to Major League Baseball at old Metropolitan Stadium.
I'll tell you, it was a tough place to play. They had they paint the grass.
Well, yeah,
green.
It doesn't grow there naturally until July.
And I'll never forget the mosquitoes there. They were unbelievable.
Oh, we still got those. It's still a state bird. Don't kid yourself.
Actually, today now at Target Field, they took the tarp off, and the grass is completely, perfectly green, just as it is here, because they have the heating elements at Target Field, and the ground never actually freezes. But, they did have to paint the grass green. Here's today at Target Field. You got to blow the snow off of it first. And then they pulled the tarp off, and there you go. Looks like it's ready to go.
Looks like game condition.
That's the first green grass we've seen in Minnesota. I guarantee you that.
And you can see the turf now at 50-some degrees, and they'll keep that thawed out and hope for no more substantial snowfall like the blizzard that hit New England the last 24 hours.
I tell you, I never saw so many happy people the day that that new ballpark opened. Everybody was so excited about the outdoor baseball park, and it was just amazing. It was an amazing feeling going in there.
Lanning Tucker attending to Marvin Hudson, who took part of a broken bat. Let's go down to Jamie Erdahl. Jamie?
Dick down here with Jose Iglesias. 25 games last year with the big club. What has your mentality and preparation been when it comes to this upcoming season?
Different mentality. Definitely a lot positive. Really good off season. Try to be ready for 2013.
You're dealing with a new shortstop with the club, Stephen Drew. What has that been like dealing with that guy?
It's fun. He's a good teammate. He's a good guy, and it's fun to be around him.
All right. Thank you for your time, Jose.
And thank you, Jamie. Brandon Boggs back in the box. Marvin Hudson back behind the plate, 2-2, and that may have hit him. Boggs does not get hit, but the ball to the backstop, and the runner Fryer advances to third. Jerry, you were talking about the Red Sox opening up Target Field 3 years ago. Somehow Boggs missed getting hit by that pitch. You may remember this. I found it so comical but memorable nonetheless. The second game of that series, about the 4th or 5th inning, it started raining, And the Minnesota fans applauded.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Finally, after 28 years of indoor baseball, we're getting rained on.
They wanted the rain to lay back. They wanted to see the top come on the field and everything. I do remember that. That was great.
Wicked foul off the bat of Boggs. With Hernandez trying to clean things up a bit here in the 8th inning. Giving up a base hit. Runner advanced to second on a ground ball, and now a wild pitch. Trying to keep this a 2-0 ball game. Lifted to right field. Hazelbaker has to make a diving catch at the end of the run. And a late break on the ball. The ball slicing away from him, but he made a nice play to close out the top of the 8th inning. And it is still 2-0 Twins. From beautiful JetBlue Park in Fort Myers, Florida. About 10 minutes, depending on the traffic, from where the Twins train. Jerry, looking it up, doesn't seem like it was 21 years ago now that the Red Sox moved here to Fort Myers. It's been a great marriage, if you will, between these two teams. Twins got here a couple of years before the Red Sox, but it's been great, I think, for both franchises to have this association here in Fort Myers.
That is great. It's two beautiful ballparks. You're going to get a lot of renovations over at your ballpark.
Correct, yeah.
And that should make it even better than what it is now. So a lot of good baseball being played down in Southwest Florida.
Yeah, this ballpark is absolutely beautiful, Dick, for you and I. This is the first time we've both been here. And I just took some time earlier in the day just to walk around and see it. And it's an incredible facility. And I know Hammond Stadium's going to get a little facelift, and they're going to do some things outside of the ballpark with housing for minor league players and add some fields and do some different things. And this is a great place for fans to come and watch spring training baseball.
We've talked many times. We kind of hope that somebody will move into our old ballpark.
Yeah.
Because that's still in good shape. That's still a good ballpark. And that would give us 3 teams in the Fort Myers area, which would be great.
Would that mean that I wouldn't have to drive over to Jupiter, Florida twice in 1 week?
That's up to your boss.
We said it earlier today, all about us. Huh?
Well, here's a young guy that has really made an impression here in camp, Michael Tonkin. He's a big guy, 6'7", 220. He throws mid-90s with some sink. And there's one right there at the knees at 92 for strike 1 to Siriaco.
Well, Tonkin pitched an A-ball last year, and as you see, he got a few saves, but he does have great movement. And when you add movement with a mid-90s fastball, you get a lot of swings like that. Those first 2 fastballs, 2 seamers at 92 miles an hour.
Look at Pelfrey at 6'7", Alex Meyer, Twins prospect. They got in a trade over the winter at 6'9", and now Tonkin at 6'7". Twins pitching staff might look like a Division II basketball team here before too long.
Well, I think for years, Dick, you listen to everybody talk about Twins pitching, and you know there was a term, Jerry, that was used a lot around the Twin Cities that really got old for a lot of people, the pitch to contact type guy. And I think that was a statement that was made, and everybody got a little tired of hearing it. And now you see how the Minnesota Twins organization has gone out drafting, trading for players, and bringing people in that can throw the baseball, that are big, strong kids that throw the ball hard.
And throw for swings and misses like that. Good breaking ball after a couple of sinking fastballs. And you can see the off-balance swing there by Siriaco. I've always been one of the guys that kind of likes pitches that pitch to no contact. I mean, if there's no contact, there's a lot better chance of not having something bad happen.
Tough to screw that up.
Yeah.
What the Twins have had the last couple of years, got pitchers who pitch to contact and then back up third base. That's not good.
No.
One strike. And it has been a rough last 10 minutes for Marvin Hudson. One off the wrist, part of a bat, and now off the shoulder pad, it appeared, of Fryer, and then right into the grill of Marvin Hudson. It's not a laughing matter. Umpires are very concerned about the wear and tear that they take, and plays like that, foul tips like that, are what led to the retirement of longtime American League umpire Tim Cheetah. Just repeated concussion, foul tips leading to concussion-like symptoms. Here's a number to third. Sobolewski fires across for out number 2.
And I know our game is a very traditional game, and we all love parts of it, including the equipment. And you see Hudson right there wearing the old-fashioned mask, and now they're titanium, so they're extremely light. But I really believe you're going to start seeing more and more. You see catchers and umpires going to the big hockey helmet just to absorb some of that issue of the concussion issue and absorb those shots to the mask.
Had a long chat last summer with Sandy Alomar Jr. about that very fact. Alomar on the coaching staff of the Indian, and their outstanding young catcher Carlos Santana has had some concussion issues that he's had to deal with. And what Sandy is going to try to do is to, in his own way, bring back the catcher's mask, the heavy one with the iron bars, because it's Sandy's opinion, and he was of course a great catcher, that this lighter catcher's mask does not protect the ground ball bleeding into right field, a 2-out single for Carp. That the lighter mask doesn't do nearly as good a job of protecting a catcher than the heavier mask that was worn for decades.
Yeah, we're seeing more and more catchers go to this type of mask right here, the hockey style mask. And I agree with you. You know, you look at some of the old time masks that umpires used to wear when we had the big balloon chest protector. They looked a lot stronger than these did. Right. That's for sure.
Well, the Red Sox trying to get something done here with 2 gone in the 8th inning, a 2-out single. Hamilton, with his first plate appearance, entered the game as a pinch runner for Nava, and there's strike 1. Tonkin coming into the ball game, getting a strikeout, and then 2 ground balls, one of them going into right field for a base hit. And Hamilton swings and misses as a hand come off the bat. 0-2.
And that's pretty good. When you can throw a 2-seam fastball 92 miles an hour, you can see the movement on this young man's fastball. But at 92 for a hitter, that makes it really difficult to stay on this fastball.
And now the runner caught between first and second, and the throw was there, but the tag was not in time. With it's Brian Dinkelman at first base now. He's a transplanted outfielder, asked to play some at first base because of the shortage of first basemen in camp.
And Cobb very lucky right there that he did not get picked off first base, because down by 2 runs late in the ball game, that can't happen.
A breaking ball and a called third strike. So Hamilton strikes out. Tonkin faces just 4 men in a scoreless 8th. On to the 9th, and it's still 2-0. We are back at JetBlue Park, 9th inning now. Twins in front, 2-0. Joe Benson in his 4th plate appearance skies one to right center field, and for the 3rd time in a row, Benson has hit a fly ball to right field. One quick out here in the 9th. Dick Bramer, Ron Coomer, and Jerry Remy, with the Red Sox winning the first 2 games of this 8-game spring training series. And during the regular season, the Red Sox will host the Twins in a 4-game series in early May. Then later in the month, Boston comes to Minnesota for 3 games, and then that's it.
If I can, I'd like to say hello to Bob Kurtz back in Minnesota.
Absolutely. Bob's, I think, busy tonight working with Minnesota tonight? Wild, I believe. But Wilder in Nashville tonight. Longtime Boston announcer. And Brian Dinkelman beats out an infield hit. Nice play by Siriaco behind the second base bag, but it's a 1-out single.
That guy Siriaco was a big surprise for us last year. Played great baseball for the Red Sox. Can do a lot of things, play a lot of positions. Shows a little bit of range like that right there. Has a strong throwing arm.
Jerry, you're a great second baseman.
So.
Well, I'll say you were great. I remember when you were playing. But did you place any at all, or were you drafted perhaps on the other side of the infield?
I was a shortstop in high school, and as soon as they saw me throw professionally, they said, get over to second base. We've seen enough.
But, I mean, the Twins have some players, and Dozier's the latest to try it, to make that conversion from short over to second base. Was it tough for you to make that conversion?
It was, because I didn't know how to make double plays, from second base. That's something they had to learn as a young kid in the minor leagues.
This might be a double play here. Safe at first. Hustling down the line was Beresford, and he keeps the inning alive for the Twins.
Well, we've seen a few double plays tonight that could have been double plays but did not end up that way. And again, too much speed, too much hustle getting down that first base line. Leaps at that first bag. That's a little dangerous on those ankles, but beats it out.
And I think we've seen tonight just some infielders just being a little tentative, or, maybe in a couple more weeks you're going to see the shortstops attacking that ground ball a little bit more, getting that ball a lot closer to second base instead of waiting back on it. And when you do that, those turn into routine double plays.
I think you see so many combinations, too, at this time of year of shortstop and second baseman that aren't used to each other playing in games, especially late in ball games.
Thomas, the batter, 1 strike.
You know, how important is that? You're an all-star second baseman, and how important is that to have that kind of chemistry with your shortstop and second baseman? I knew, you know, certain second basemen like the ball from me at third base in relatively a certain spot, but at short and second, you guys really work as a team.
You know, I agree with you, and I think sometimes it's overrated on the length of time that it takes. I think when you get to the professional level, I think, you know, it doesn't take a whole lot of time for a shortstop and a second baseman to get used to each other. Just repetitions in infield practice, you know, going over and over it again. As long as you know where he likes the ball, where you like the ball, if you can get it there, you're going to have success.
Thomas lifts it to short left field. In fact, it's the shortstop Diaz making the call and the catch to wrap up the top of the 9th inning. To the bottom of the inning with the Twins in front 2-0. Losses don't matter, but it's a 2-0 ball game for the Twins as we go to the bottom of the 9th, and nothing less important than a save situation in a spring training game, but nevertheless, Tyler Robertson has that presented to him here.
Well, you see Tyler's numbers last year, 33 games, AAA, 2-2 record. Pretty good ERA, and you see his strikeouts to walks. Pretty good, and you know, he's a guy that the Twins are looking for to be that left-hander out of the pen that can get lefties out. Good sweeping breaking ball, and we'll see that right away in his first hitter.
40 games with the major league club last year. A situational left-hander, and the numbers back that up. Much more effective against left-handed batters than right. And he'll face Holt here, leading off the 9th inning. Off the plate, ball 1.
Well, you called it the breaking ball in the first pitch.
Slider.
Brock Holt, last year in AAA, putting up good numbers, getting a chance here against Tyler Robertson. One hopper to Dinkelman, and the converted outfielder, at least tonight, makes a nice play, 1 away.
Well, I think that's the important thing for Robertson. He's got to throw strikes, and if he can get ahead, then that breaking ball is a lot more effective. But if you pitch behind and then you start throwing a lot more fastballs and fastballs towards the middle of the plate, that's when you get in trouble. He's had some success when he's able to get that first pitch breaking ball over or make a good quality pitch with the first pitch.
And a fastball down and in, ball 1 to Vasquez. These two teams came in to play tonight with identical 7 and 6 marks. And now another fastball away, 2-0. You guys, of course, part of a number of spring trainings as players in your playing career. Seems to me that the only thing that really matters is that your key guys, pitchers, there's a deep drive to left. And a fair ball. And Vasquez digs for second. And he's got a double. So a 1-out double for Vasquez. And Robertson continuing a pattern. He retired the lefty and has a hard time with the right-handed batter.
It looks like some type of off-speed pitch right there, and Vasquez, who's had a very good night behind the plate, now does it with the bat off the screen part of that wall out there in left field, and it kind of deadens the ball, but Vasquez in the second base with the double.
Gomez will hit. But with spring training roughly halfway over with, the teams want to obviously get through spring healthy, and they want their key guys to be ready to go come opening day. You just generally want to get your prep work in here. If you win games along the way, that's all well and good, but it's just not that important.
Yeah, I think, my feeling has always been the last week of spring training, if you feel good as a player and feel good as a team breaking camp, I think that's the most important thing. Spring training's so long now that you can go into 3 slumps before the end of spring training's over.
Yeah, I would agree. You want to build up. That last week, your starting players are playing. Your role players might come in occasionally in the last inning or so. But all your starters are out there. Your rotation is set. That's when you really will see what your team is like or going to be like going into the start of the year.
And it helps, too. I mean, you're worried about yourself and being prepared for the start of the season. It's also nice to feel good about the other 24 guys on the team, too. And that, okay, this guy's going to help us here. That guy's going to help us there. It's in the dirt to the backstop. Fryer couldn't gather it in, and Vasquez goes to third.
This just a slider that thrown a little short. Takes kind of a funny hop for Fryer and gets all the way to the backstop.
Getting back to that spring training thing, I always wanted to experience everything that I was going to experience during the season, and a lot of that came in the last week or two of spring training when you started playing a full game, for example, and you got the infield in the 9th inning. You want to experience all those kind of things before the start of the season. Beginning of spring training, you play 5, you're never in a quite crucial situation like that, and I think it makes a difference to get some of that stuff under your belt, obviously, before you start the season.
And if you got an 0 for 4 out of the way in March, that was just fine, right?
Yeah, well, not quite fine, but,
You'd rather have it in March than April.
A little more palatable than it was after April 1st.
Off the plate now, 3-2, and Robertson running himself into a bad situation here. The double, the wild pitch. Now a full count to Gomez.
See, this is what we were talking about, kind of pitching around the zone and not attacking the strike zone. We'll see what he goes with here on 3-2.
Breaking pitch, got him. A 3-2 slider. And Gomez swings over the top for out number 2.
Now that completely fooled Gomez. He was not thinking about a breaking ball on the 3-2 count. Gomez has the kind of power that could tie this game up, but not on a pitch like that.
2 down. And Diaz, the last hope for the Red Sox. Rick Anderson, bench coach Terry Steinbach. Down and in, ball 1. And a fastball up high. Robertson, in the first 5 years of his professional career, was a starting pitcher and never really had much success. At least the Twins felt he would not have an opportunity to pitch at this level until they converted him to a reliever. And now it falls 3-0 to Diaz. 3-0 to the number 9 batter. And down the middle, a strike. And down the middle again. You can see just 86, 88, 89 miles per hour. Robertson is not a hard thrower.
No, and that's why it's so important for him to be able, against lefties, to throw that first pitch breaking ball for a strike.
Chopped up the line, and that'll trickle foul. So on 3-2 to Gomez, he threw him a slider, and on this 3-2 pitch, looked to be the fastball. Terry Steinbach would tell you he learned an awful lot in his days at Oakland about how to call a game. Tony La Russa, his manager during those great years with the A's. Steinbach hoping to impart some of his wisdom to Mauer, Domit, whoever else might be catching for the Twins. We'll see what Robertson delivers here on 3-2. Fastball is lifted high to center field. And Benson waits, hardly has to move. And the Twins beat the Red Sox for the first time in Grapefruit League action, 2-0. A series of 4 two-out hits back in the 3rd inning. Scored a couple of runs, and the Twins beat the Red Sox 2-0.
So the Twins beat the Red Sox 2-0. Coming up on NESN Daily, much more, including the Celtics looking for 5 straight wins at the Garden against the Hawks.
And Bruins with a call from the farm in hopes of finding a fit for that 3rd line.
And the final weekend of the regular season in Hockey East. First place at stake. We'll get you right up to speed.
Straight ahead.